Welcome to the Awesome Pod Mix. You're listening to Abby. The idea behind this podcast was to talk about everything related to movies and how it made me feel when I watched them for the first time and over the years. A reputed filmmaker once said, when a piece of art invokes a similar feeling amidst a large audience, it's the triumph of the filmmaker. That's the magic of cinema. I love the magic of cinema. Today, I'll be discussing the movie Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai with a very special guest who played the director of Apahej Pyar. If you know, you know. If you don't, go find out. Welcome to the Awesome Pod Mix, May.
Hi, Abby. Thank you so much for having me around.
Before I say the credits of the film, I want to give you a little backstory about me watching this movie for the first time. I was in 12th grade when I watched the movie for the first time, and I was amazed by the dialogue. I was like, this is so cool. I didn't know anyone who had worked on the movie back then. There is no story by credit. Can you tell us why?
Oh, because there was no story process in writing of this film. So this film, from the conception, like from the time we got the idea that we should make this kind of a film to the final script, it was just 42 days, right? Sanjay Gadvi sir, who was the director of this film and also the screenplay writer, co-screenplay writer with me. Sanjay sir and I, we had worked on a previous film called Tere Liye, which he had directed. And I was his chief AD. And that film was sort of in a, how in Indian film industry we call it, in the dabba. Like it was not being released. It was in the cans, not in the Cannes Film Festival, but it was just in the cans, not being released at all. And we were very frustrated. So we said, okay, let's try and write another film. And we wrote another film. And he told me one day that I have a producer. And he didn't tell me who it was. And after I finished writing that script, he told me that let's go and meet the producer. And on the way, he told me, do you know who we are going to see? I said, I don't know. I've written the script. It's fine. Whoever your producer is. And then on the way, he told me that we are going to Yash Raj Films and we are going to meet Aditya Chopra. I said, yeah, okay, fine. I was very casual and cool about it. And then we met Adi sir. And first time in my life, I met him. And we were together for 3.5 hours. I narrated the whole film to him. That was a different story. It was not this story. And he liked it. He liked the scale of it. He liked the writing. He told me, he said, oh, so you enjoyed writing the film. I said, is there any other reason why anybody should write, right? So he said, okay, fine. And I left that meeting. And apparently after I left, he told Sanjay Gadvi sir that this boy is an asset. He's a talent. Don't lose him. But I was very poor. So I needed money to write a film. And there was no, I didn't have space in my life to write a spec script. There are two kinds of scripts, spec and commissioned. So I could only work on commissioned projects because I had to pay rent and I had no money. Adi sir told Sanjay sir that can we ask Mayur to write another script? And Sanjay sir told him that he's not going to write for free. We have to commission him. And I was probably one of the first writers, or probably the first and the only writer in Yash Raj who was given an advance before one word of the script was written. Okay, so I was paid in advance to start working on the film. And now because they had already paid me an advance, I'm sure the producers were also in a hurry that we should immediately write the script. So it started with just these discussions that three of us would sit and say, what kind of film we should make? What kind of a film? Should it be relationship, romance? Okay, fine, yes. How many? Okay, should we have one hero, two heroine, two heroes, one hero? Like that kind of thing. Who are the available people to us? Uday Chopra is easily available. Abhishek Bachchan was easily available. Jimmy Shergill was easily available. Jugal Hansraj was easily available. So he asked us that out of these 4-5 people, you can choose any two. And a 2-hero film, low budget, medium budget, romantic film, we thought, yeah, that's a game we can play. We can work around with that. So there's no story credit because we straight away got into the screenplay. The first thing that we did in the first couple of meetings is that Adi sir, I and Sanjay sir, we decided the 6 songs of the film, like the song placement, where the songs are going to come. We knew we had 6 songs. The whole idea was to fill up the space of the film from the beginning till the first song, then from the first song till the second song, then the second song till the interval, like that. It was a very, how in Hollywood they work, and sometimes they call it a sequential working. It's not an act structure, but it's like sequences. So we had decided 8 sequences in the film, and there's a mini arc within each structure actually. Within each sequence is an arc. So this was written with directly the screenplay kind of an approach. There was no story. After the film was done, because there was so much story input from Adi sir, I told him, I said, why don't you take the story credit? And screenplay, of course, I'll share with Sanjay sir because he had sat in a lot of meetings and he had given every single meeting and he had given a lot of inputs. And of course, dialogues, I will take solo credit because I had physically actually written the script. Adi sir and Sanjay sir, they were strictly in the capacity of talking and discussing. They were not physically sitting and writing. I was the one who was doing that. And of course, all the dialogues were also mine. And this whole thing was weighing down on our shoulders that our film is loosely or slightly inspired by my best friend's wedding. And more so because the title was Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi. It's a misunderstood film because of that also, because the title is exactly like that. But we took the title from an old Hindi film song, Aaj Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi. We took it from there. But when I told Adi sir that आप story का credit ले लो, you take the credit for the story, and he said, story तो सब लोग बोलेंगे चोरी किया, मुझे नहीं लेना credit. So he didn't take the credit for story, and immediately my antennas also rang, and I said, फिर तो मेरे को भी नहीं चाहिए story का credit. Sanjay sir was not supposed to get any credit because he was, as a director, he was doing his inputs in the story. But Adi sir's point was that if Sanjay does not take any credit in the film, then people will think that Adi has made the film. And Sanjay is like a figurehead. So he said, see, if you want to prove yourself as a director, it's better you take a writer's credit also in the film. So thoda pad up ho jayega your validity in the film, which I totally agree with. And of course, he has contributed so much to the screenplay. Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai is Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai because of Sanjay sir's inputs and because of Adi sir's inputs. So I think in the story credits, the only name that is missing is Aditya Chopra, which is not there.
So let's give it here now.
Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai story is by Aditya Chopra.
The screenplay is by Sanjay Gadhvi and Mayur Puri, and the dialogues are by Mayur Puri.
Correct.
I have one more question about the film that you pitched to Adi Chopra before this film that you wrote. Now, I want to know that is there a teeny tiny possibility that that film will ever get made?
Well, you never say no, but that film could not be made at that time. Let me tell you about that film. When I started writing that film, I said, you have a producer? He said, I have a producer. So I said, what kind of film do you want to make? And he said, it's a very big producer. He didn't tell me who it was. He said, you don't worry. You write whatever the hell you want to write. Khul ke bindas, whatever you want to write. I wrote a saga, literally. So 2001, this was 2001. Like I told you, I went to meet Adi sir for the first time and I narrated 3 hours. He was indulging me probably, and he was just probably having fun with me, and he said, मैं तेरे को पूछता हूँ, अगर if you were making this film, if you were the director, producer, whoever, who would you cast in your film? And I was very naive. You got to understand that. Then I thought the world is my oyster and I will manifest and things will happen. There's no big deal. So I said, without like batting an eyelid, promptly I said, see, that main guy will take Amitabh Bachchan and the other 2 guys are there. One we will take Shah Rukh Khan ko le lenge. And we will take Steph or we'll take Hrithik or somebody like that. And 2 girls are there. We'll take Kajol and we'll take Preeti Zinta or somebody like that. And then this old man, Mr. Bachchan's character, he's got 2 important women in his life. So I said, वो रेखा जी को ले लेंगे जिनसे उनको प्यार होता है और फिर जया जी को ले लेंगे. And very casually I said, इन सबको लेके बना लेंगे पिक्चर, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? So Adi said that, बेटा ये पिक्चर तो बन नहीं सकती. So he was like, I can't make this film. What you will make? So please, औकात में रहो. हाँ, yeah. He was like, औकात में रहो. तुमको मिलेगा जिमी शेरगिल, उदय चोपड़ा, अभिषेक बच्चन या जुगल हंसराज. इनमें से कोई choose कर लो and you make your film. You're not going to get this star cast. Whether that film can be made today, it will need a redraft because it's a 90s sensibility film. So it will need to change. But yeah, it's a classic. So, and it's a very passionate, deep, emotional, that kind of a film. So it can be made anytime. It's not a problem. But yeah, it's a big film. You know, when we were making Happy New Year, Shah Rukh sir told me at that time that this is the last multi-star film. It will not happen again now because it's become so difficult now to make multi-star. A 2-hero film you can't make. It's very difficult.
So I really hope one day this film gets made because whatever little I've heard of the story, I really like it. It's funny, but it's dramatic. So the first sell of a movie is always the poster. I want to know about the making of the poster and what did the producers say. I'm saying producers because Adi sir didn't take a proper credit as a producer until Hum Tum, but all these films were still made under his supervision and Yash Ji was the producer.
There's a very funny story about Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai making. This film was actually like ideated and so to say greenlit on a poster. We did not have a story. We did not have a screenplay. We did this. So this is the early, I told you the whole film was written in 42 days from idea to the final script. This must be the day 2 or day 3. It was as early as that. We knew that we want to make a triangle. We knew that triangle is going to be about childhood love. It's going to be about unfulfilled childhood love and how a person goes after it. These basic ideas were there. So I knew that there's going to be a Shaadi in the story and there's going to be 2 boys and a girl. Only this much I knew on the day 1 of the discussion. So day 2, I went to the office, not office actually. We used to do scripting in the Gadda room those days. Gadda room is in Yashji's house, in Yashji's bungalow in Juhu. There used to be a room in the bungalow which was overlooking the garden and it had a semicircular sitting arrangement and a huge gadda, huge mattress put up and all the music sittings and all creative work used to happen so that there was enough space for people to like lounge around and chat and stuff like that. So that was called the Gadda room. A lot of work has happened, a lot of creative stuff has come out of Gadda room. So we were in Gadda room and we were discussing. So I told Adi sir that I have an idea. Just listen to this. Imagine a poster of a movie where there is a dolly, a palanquin. I said, imagine a girl inside a dolly. Imagine two dulhas trying to pull the dolly in two different directions. And the girl inside peering from the curtain and trying to step out. And she's not dressed as a dulhan, but she's wearing jeans and a white top which is tied at her waist. With like a lot of attitude, she's like stepping out of the dolly kind of a thing and very naughtily. Adi sir flipped on the poster. He said, love it. This is a poster. And now everything we tried to do in the film was trying to be true to this poster. That the idea of this poster should not go away. This is what was always in our mind. Yashi being Yashi, as you know, he was the producer and Adi sir was like the associate producer. He was acting on behalf of Yashi. But Yashi, when he heard the whole thing and when he heard the poster idea, he just asked us to make a small change. He said that no, the girl will not be dressed in jeans and white top or white shirt or something like that. The girl will be a dulhan because otherwise nothing makes sense. वो चोरी से इस डोली में नहीं घुसी है, वो उसी की डोली है, कैसे पता चलेगा? You can only know that.
Oh my God, yes, G.
Yes, G, yeah. So a poster tells so much of a story. So she should be dressed as a bride and these two grooms are pulling this palanquin in two different directions. That's a great idea for a poster and that's what we started off with.
That kind of wisdom only comes with years of experience, right?
I don't know whether there are two things. Of course, experience helps. This is also innate wisdom. This is the wisdom of knowing your culture, knowing your people, knowing human relationships, knowing the psychology, like how will people react to this? What people are going to think? Iska kya hoga? I mean, small thing you do, what impact it will have on the audience. He had amazing clarity about it.
Because in the final poster, you see the boys in, modern outfits.
Yeah.
So when you said dressed as grooms, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Now, you guys choose to start the film with this gateway scene where it's not even Anjali and Sanju who are the main protagonists of the film. The trailer categorically says that this story is about Sanju and Anju, correct?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
The story begins at the gateway of India, night, and there's this boy and the girl, and they are fighting actually, just to make audience feel for a moment that they might be in a relationship, because relationship mein to people keep fighting all the time. Na? Just when you're about to believe that, oh, this is a boy and a girl and they are having a relationship, suddenly a voiceover comes and the voiceover says that ye hai Sanjay और Riya. लेकिन ये कहानी इनकी नहीं है. ये कहानी है संजय और अंजलि की. संजू और अंजू. जिनकी दोस्ती तब से है जब से वो दोस्ती का मतलब भी नहीं जानते थे. The idea was to mislead the audience for 30 seconds and tell the audience that don't make any assumptions in this film. We'll show you some information, but things are not as they seem. Just to keep that surprise element on and catch the audience early on.
Okay. About this voiceover, there was somebody else you had in mind for this VO, but later it went to Saurabh Shukla because he supposedly related to the two characters.
Yes. When we shot the scene at Gateway and we sent it for edit, by the way, Aditya Chopra sir is also the uncredited editor of this film.
What all he does, man.
Yeah. So what happened is, at that time in Yash Raj, there was Mr. Karnik, who was the editor, who was the film editor, and there was Ritesh Soni, who was the assistant editor. And we thought that we should have a different point of view because I was writing and I was also the chief AD, and Sanjay sir was also a screenplay writer, and plus he was directing the film. So we were too close to the subject material. We thought if there's an outside person to edit, it will be much better. And that was a big argument, and Adi sir did not want outside people to come and edit inside Yash Raj studio and office. Adi sir ke saath mein hai wo thoda. He's like, right hand is working, left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Like, so he's very secretive. So he said, no, I don't want outside person to come and edit. And after a lot of, we said, no, sir, we need someone to look at it from an outside perspective, this, that. And one day he came and he said that, what if I edit your film? I'll sit with Ritesh and I'll tell him what takes to use and what cuts. And how can we say no to him? His movie is still running in Maratha Mandir. It was running at that time also.
Whenever I'm depressed, I go watch that movie.
Yeah, so he's the guy who made India's most successful film. So we said, if you are going to edit it, like, oh my God. So we said, okay, fine. Technically, he has kind of edited the film. So he must have been in the edit and he saw that, oh, that voiceover is not there. So he took the mic and he recorded in his voice. Okay. And Adis sir, very nicely he did that VO. Like, it was so warm and nice. And he had, I still remember that words like that Adis sir's recording is etched in my brain. Because it was my first film, I was too attached to it also. Everything is etched in my brain. But that I still remember he did, ye hai Sanjay aur Riya, magar ye kahani inki nahi, ye kahani hai Sanjay aur Anjali ki. And then he hesitated just like Sanju or Anju. And I loved that. It was just so real. You know, it was like actually a storyteller trying to tell you a story and taking a pause about, listen, this is going to be important now. And he did it very warmly and nicely. So I loved it. And when I saw the first cut of the scene and I said, sir, very nice, beautiful, sir. Ye apne VO'da bahut acha kiya. It's very nice. We'll keep it in the film. So he's like, you mad or what? I said, why? He said, I'm not an actor. I'm not going to. You'll have to get it dubbed by someone. So then it was my thing that why should I get it dubbed by a voiceover artist or somebody like some random person who has nothing to do with the film? So who should dub it? Should it be Sanju's VO? But then he can't be talking about himself in third person. It'll be very weird. Cannot be Rohit because then it'll be a giveaway that it's not his story. We want to continue that illusion. So it was very complicated. It can't be the girl. So whose VO? Whose VO? And then Adi sir came up with the idea that he said, you know what, Saurabh is the correct character. He was playing his uncle and who also had a similar story where it did not fructify. His love did not fructify. It was, we always have a plot A and plot B, where plot B, like a subplot, it mirrors the plot A. We do in scripting. It's a very common exercise to do that. So we had that, and he said, "This is the guy. Like a previous generation, his love is not fulfilled. So it could be his story. It's better to use his voice." And Saurabh is a great actor. So then Saurabh Shukla, we made him do the VO in the end. But I'm sure in Yashraj editing studio somewhere that recording with Adi's VO is still lying there, and it's very good.
I would give anything to like hear that VO.
I know, but you will never.
What the
Because Adi sir is like, no, he will not let anybody.
Not hire me, but if I ever get a chance to meet him, I'll be like, you better make me hear that voiceover, please.
I think he must have destroyed it.
This is ridiculous. You're just crushing my hopes and dreams. Life does that on a regular basis, mate. Don't do that to me. So speaking of crushing hopes and dreams, Sanjay has had a heartbreak. Riya is like कि पिछले 11 महीनों में ये 8वीं बार टूटा है.
That is very autobiographical, actually.
I had no idea.
I fall in love easily, and I've had many friends and many girlfriends and stuff like that. So, and it's always nice to have a hero who wears his heart on the sleeve and who falls in love easily. It's certain kind of heroism also to that, but also there is certain kind of vulnerability to it, because 11 महीने में 8 रिलेशनशिप हुए, इसका मतलब है कि 8 मुकम्मल नहीं हुए. He is not capable of holding a relationship also. So something is wrong with this boy. He can't hold a relationship. Something keeps going wrong with him. That
detail, which will come in later, and I'll point that out, but that is because of a reason which we'll get to know later. So is that why you wrote this song called एक बार नहीं ये दिल 100 बार है टूटा पर शौक मोहब्बत का अब तक न छूटा ये दिल अपनी फितरत से टूटा.
That's many years later.
Yeah, but
that's many years later. This is a song from Race 2. And this was the reprise of Allah Duaiye, right? It's a reprise of Allah Duaiye.
This scene also underlines Sanju's core belief, which is जो दिल की राह पे चलता है वो दुनिया बदल सकता है.
If you see the seeds of positivity, which people tell me I'm very positive and optimist, the seeds of things like Picture Abhi Baki Hai Mere Dost, it all comes from these basic beliefs in life, that if I'm right, if my heart is at the right place, and if my actions, they are in line with my speech. I always say that I teach, so I tell what is a teacher, what is a professor. Be able to profess. By professing, it means that what you think, what you speak, and what you do has to be same. It cannot be 3 different things. So these are certain core beliefs of my life. I really feel that if your heart is at the right place, then ultimately things will fall in place and things will happen fine. So जो दिल की राह पे चलता है वो दुनिया बदल सकता है. You walk on the path of your heart, you listen to your heart, and you can change the world. Why not?
But that was also one of the defining characteristics of Sanjay also. You root for that guy because he says this thing.
There's one more reason, Abhi. What happens is that when you're writing a film where actually it's not the grand theater of life. The film is not about that. It's a very ordinary, it's a very simple film. I wouldn't say ordinary, but I'll say that it's a very low scale film. It's about one boy loves a girl, the girl is getting married, he wants to break the marriage and marry her. That's what this film is. It's not really going to change the world. Now, in that kind of a film, it becomes very important to write bigger thoughts and bigger lines so that the audience cares for that character. For the audience cares for this one little love story. Why should anybody be interested in a boy who works in Bombay and his childhood friend is getting married in Dehradun, that he should care enough to go there and break that wedding and what all happens in his life? Why should we care about it? But we will care if we love this boy, if we invest in this boy, if things are scaled up in his dialogue, in his behavior. So it's a very conscious choice to up your hero. It's a very weird term in Hindi film industry. The directors and writers, they'll use it. They'll say, hero ko thoda up karo yaar. Like up the hero, like give him more strength. Yeah. What in 3-act structure we call entire movement as rising action. When you build your hero. So these are all tricks to do that. These are basically, we know that this thing has to be extremely important for the hero. The hero should be articulate enough so that audience also cares for them.
So in the opening credits, I noticed that Sanju is wearing the DDLJ hat and he has a mandolin. Who
By the
came
way-
up with that idea?
By the way, that mandolin is the mandolin that Shah Rukh played in DDLJ. It's the same one. So it was lying in the prop room of Yashraj Films in the office. This is before Yashraj Studios was made. So now everything is in the studios. But at that time we had a go down where every clothes from old films. So we knew that we have that thing in the prop, and because in the song recording we needed to use this mandolin because Sanjay Gadvi sir was a bigger fan of DDLJ than even I am. Okay, he was a very big fan. But I'm not saying he's bigger fan than you, but bigger fan than me for sure, right? Sanjay sir nudged Preetam and Jeet in the direction that the refrain of the song, the main song, the side A first song, Ek Ladki Ki Tumhe Kya Sunayam, we should do it on mandolin. So we've planted that in the music of the film. Then we went to Adi and we said, Jeet Preetam have used mandolin for this. So now can we get so he will have to be playing mandolin for choreography also. Then if he's playing mandolin, then can we use, it's already lying in our go down, can we use that? And Adi sir absolutely knew that we are these little children who are crying for candy, and like a good parent, you're like, okay, fine, if you do this, then I'll give you this. So you'll say, okay, fine, do the scheduling and do the breakdown, then I'll give you this.
So you're not the first scene, but the very second scene is your tribute to your favorite film, Maine Pyar Kiya. Why did you choose this scene? And can you recite the lines for me also?
Yeah, so there is a scene. The scene opens in Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai, and you are on the TV. You're closed in on the TV screen, and you see Jeevan from Maine Pyar Kiya, which is my favorite film, apart from Golmaal and Sholay, or at least at that time it was my favorite film. It starts with that scene from Maine Pyar Kiya where it's a party. And in the party, there's this whole altercation between Mohnish Bahl and Salman Khan, Jeevan and Prem, where Jeevan says, "Hey Prem, क्या हुआ? मैंने इसे चुके कोई गुनाह कर दिया? तुम भी तो वही चाहते हो जो मैं चाहता हूँ."
हाँ, क्या चाहता है वो? मुझे जानना है ये.
Again, 90s cinema is so nice that we don't say things openly, right? So every boy, the idea is that a boy and a girl cannot be friends because at some point, a boy will always want sex. Always want sex. So it's a limiting view of boys, but that is, I wanted to change that. In Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi, I wanted to prove that nahi, ladka ladki dost ho sakte. So this scene is going on and he says, "Sach kuch ajeeb si kashish hai isme." And then her reaction shot goes, I still remember it. Prem gets obviously angry and he says, "Jeevan, ek lafz bhi aur nikala to." And he says, "To kya? Ye tumhare layak nahi rahegi. Badi fikar hai tumhe iski. Tumhari jaagir hai. Private property hai. Kya hai, haan?" And then that other Parveen Dastoor character, she says, Seema, she says, "Dost hai." And then I remember this very well. He says, "Ha ha ha, दोस्त सुना दोस्तों, ये देखिए जवां दोस्ती का एक नजारा, दोस्ती के नाम पे खेला गया एक नाटक। एक लड़का लड़की कभी दोस्त नहीं होते प्रेम, ये तो एक पर्दा है, पर कपकपाती हुई रातों में धड़कते हुए दिलों की भड़कती हुई आग को बुझाने का, उसे छुपाने का." I loved the drama in this scene. It is such, and actually what is the scene about in Maine Pyar Kiya also? It's just a party of youngsters. It's nothing. There's no big deal.
तो विलन तो बोलेगा ही ना कि लड़का लड़की दोस्त नहीं हो सकते, बट दुनिया जहान ने मान लिया है, एक्सेप्ट कर लिया है कि लड़का लड़की दोस्त है. अरे वो विलन है, वो तो बोलेगा ही ऐसे.
But because what the villain said turned out to be true in the film. A boy and girl cannot have platonic relationship. They cannot have platonic friends. I wanted them to have absolutely platonic relationship and them to have no other thing at all. But Sanjay sir said that, "Look at Bipasha, she's so hot. How will audience believe that he's never had a thing for her?" So we put that one little dialogue also. Okay, don't forget that we also tried to go around for a little while, but तीसरे दिन पता चल गया था कि तुमसे ज्यादा प्यार करने से ज्यादा बड़ी बेवकूफी कुछ नहीं हो सकती. We proved that they can be friends because remember, to overcome this, I wrote another scene in the second half at the Williams reunion party.
I want to discuss that scene in detail. Wait.
But basically, in that scene, Jimmy Shergill's character, he says that you're a very good friend, and I wish I had a friend like you.
Riya gets a call from Anjali and she says, "अगर आप अपने busy schedule से वक्त निकालेंगे तो this one's for you."
Basically, it was landline. So the phone comes to their house because it's Sanjay's phone also. Sanjay gets the phone, but Riya picks it up. He says that it's for you, and he takes it up and he starts talking to Anjali, his long lost friend.
Please tell me, why do you guys design the intro of a heroine so mysteriously?
In Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi, it was very deliberate. We wanted to build who Anjali was and why that love story was more important. Because you see, you have Uday Chopra and Uday was looking very nice in that film. And you have Bipasha was looking very pretty and hot and, she's Bipasha. So seeing them together living in the same house, see, it was so modern at that time. It's a boy and a girl sharing a house as roommates. but not having any physical relationship or anything of that sort. So it was little bold and modern for that time also. But they are living together, but somewhere audience will want to have this relationship go somewhere. We were very conscious of the fact that audience will not accept the new girl as the heroine of the film unless we really pitch her very high. Listen, wait, she's very important. Let her come. There's just so much about her. That's why there's a whole song dedicated to her introduction. Ek ladki ki tumhe kya sunao dasa. Javed Saab has written that song because it has to be slow motion and the wind has to come even inside interiors and the hair has to fly because that's how heroines are introduced. That's commercial cinema.
Sanjay gets the news that Anjali is getting married. He says, I'm thrilled. He clearly is not.
Yeah. Clever shot for that, designed by Sanjay sir. I must give him credit. He was fantastic. It's a steady cam shot. In those days, nobody will take a steady cam shot for this kind of a scene inside the house. And we had a very nice scene where he talks on the phone. He hangs up. Riya asks him whose call it was. And he says, my friend Anjali, you know what? She's getting married. And she says, oh, it's a good thing. Khushi ki baat hai. So he says, I'm happy. And audience knows that he's not happy. And he passes the frame and Bipasha and the steady cam adjusts the frame a little bit to make Bipasha enter the frame. And she says, lag to nahi raha. You don't look happy.
Lag to nahi rahe. There's a Friends ka poster in the background. Whose idea? Sharmishta or you guys?
No, Sanjay Gadvi sir. In fact, before I wrote this film, he called me to his house and we had binge to watch at that time. Entire Friends ka season. And also a hat tip to Friends. We loved Friends and we thought that modern relationships were nicely portrayed in it. And it was funny. The interesting thing is why filmmakers make this choice is that how much of you is there in the character. According to Sanjay sir and according to me, Sanjay, the character in the film, Uday Chopra's character was us, how we were in life. He was exactly like that. He was as flawed as we are, as selfish as we are, but as creative also as we are. That's why we called him Sanjay. Also, it's a reaction against the typical, Raj and Arya. But Raj is reserved for Adi sir, na?
Did you just say Raj is reserved for Adi sir?
No, we thought at that time. We were idiots.
It's reserved for Shah Rukh. Kidding.
We made the character as per who we were so that his choices would be our choices or our choices could be his choices. Like what happens is that it becomes authentic. It becomes honest. Your filmmaking becomes honest if your hero is you. It's as simple as that.
He says a line, मेरा चीज ऑमलेट तो उसके सामने ना चीज ऑमलेट है.
So I and Sanjay sir, we used to crack these kind of jokes all the time. Sanjay sir was a huge punster. Very stupid jokes. They are juvenile. Nowadays it's become very cool. People call it dad jokes. But at that time it was not dad jokes. They were normal jokes for us.
Like I like the line despite Uday's delivery. I thought the delivery could have been better. Sanjay sir will kill me for this. I really thought that thoda better ho sakta tha. You didn't have another take for this? Or Adi sir was like...
Did I tell you who edited the film?
Yeah, that's what I said. It wasn't because Adi sir.
So in whichever take Uday looks good, that take will be there.
Now I know why.
No. But if you're saying delivery, then it's my fault because I was dubbing the film because I was the chief AD responsible for the entire, and I sat in all the dubbings. And it's a dubbed film. It's not native sound. I have dubbed with Uday, so probably I could have had better takes in dubbing if you didn't like it. Maybe I like that take better. I must have taken at least 6 takes of everything. So there must be more takes, but probably this was one which we went ahead with. It was a choice. Wrong choice, sorry. But it's not that serious a moment. He's just joking around. He's like, क्या omelette बनाते हो? उसके cheese omelette के सामने मेरा cheese omelette तो ना cheese omelette है.
I get his emotion. Like he's a little overwhelmed trying to explain who Anjali is. I just love it because that nachis omelette comes later also. Na? It's a small little plant that comes in later. Look, you don't know this, and I never told Sanjay sir, but it's one of my favorite movies after DDLJ, of course. But I don't think I told you or Sanjay sir about it ever in my life. Have I?
No.
I think my podcast has become this confession spot.
My God. Confession time.
It's one of my favorite films.
And you never told this.
Neither to the director or the writer who's sitting right in front of me.
Wow.
Who agreed to do this podcast. I didn't have to chase him. This is our 111th podcast. He's my first guest.
Wow.
And this is my biggest production.
Great. I understand that you loved the film, so some things might mean more for you or mean different for you. Because see, please understand, you might have seen the movie a couple of times, you might have over a period of time as you mature. We didn't have time to get matured. Okay, we wrote the film in 42 days. We made the entire film in 6 months and it was out for release. There are a lot of decisions, there are a lot of accidents also in the film which are happily happened, it's okay.
So tell me about the making of Ek Ladki, the song. Because I know for a fact that like how people think that अच्छा उसने लिख दिया बस यही बन गया गाना, ऐसे नहीं होता है. There are dummy lyrics पहले, फिर there is something else, then it's a process, it's an evolution that happens.
You'll get me in trouble. But yeah, I'll say it's okay, no big deal. I think so many years have passed, we can discuss these things. This song was very, very close to our heart because this was the first song we locked. We knew immediately the first time we heard this melody, which was na 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 na, we said, fantastic, we want this song. And we also knew that this is going to be the theme song. This is going to be the song of their friendship. It's going to be a song about Sanjay and Anjali, and it's their story in this song. And it's all going to be about Anjali. What kind of a girl? Because she's coming late in the film. She's coming after 20 minutes or 15 minutes. And we really need to tell the audience quickly a lot of things about her. So we had a lot of ideation on the song, what kind of a song it will be. And Pritam and Jeet, they made the tune and everything. And we still did not have a lyricist for the film for a long time. While I'd finished writing the film and we were already in the middle of pre-production, and we did not have a lyricist for the film because I wanted to work with Anand Bakshi Saab, who was my favorite lyricist.
Oh my God, what would I give to work with him?
And yeah, he's an idol for me. So I always, and it's one of my life's biggest regrets is that I could never meet him when he was alive. But at that time also, he was very unwell. Adi sir would come to the office and he would say, what do we do about the lyrics? Somebody has to write the songs. And I was not a lyricist at that time. I became a lyricist in 2005 after I quit my job at Yash. So I wanted Bakshi Saab, but that was not happening because he was unwell. One fine day, Adi sir walked into the cabin, in our cabin, and he just gave us an ultimatum. He said that Javed Saab or Samir Saab, pick one right now. I have to make the call. Tarkash I was reading in those days and I was a big fan of Javed Saab's poetry and stuff that he's done. So I said, Javed Saab, please, let us get Javed Saab. So obviously Javed Saab came on board, and I, being a lowly assistant, even though I was a chief AD and I was also the writer of the film, but I was not allowed to sit in the music sittings at that time. In those days, it was this thing that it was not allowed for assistants to sit in the music sittings, especially when lyrical discussions, important things are happening. We were not allowed. So I was not going for the music sittings, and Sanjay sir, obviously being the director, he was going. And Sanjay sir, Adi sir, Yashji himself, Javed Saab, and Pritam and Jeet. So they would sit for the music lyrics ka discussion. And one fine day, Sanjay sir came from that sitting and he gave me a piece of paper. I was the only one who could read Sanjay sir's handwriting because Sanjay sir used to write very fast and Hindi especially. He was very, very bad handwriting in Hindi he had. So he gave me, he said, these are the lyrics, type it on the computer. In the direction departments at that time, people used to make schedules, everything with hand only. So I started typing lyrics and I read side A, first song. This is the most important song for us. And I'm typing and I'm seeing what it is written. It says, सैकड़ों है लड़कियां, कोई उस जैसी कहाँ. I did not like it. Because I said side A, first words that people are going to hear, the first song ka first words that are going to come is going to be kado. It's such a harsh word, It's not conducive to good listening. I said, look, I was naive. You have to understand, I was very young.
It doesn't matter. I'm sorry.
Right?
We all make mistakes. That's okay.
So with due apologies to Javed Saab, I did not approve of those lyrics.
I love it, approve.
So I told Sanjay sir, can we please ask Javed Saab to rewrite this first line? It's not good. And Sanjay sir said, are you mad? He's written Sholay.
That's such a good argument कि हमने शोले लिखी है भाई.
Who are you? Who am I to approve or disapprove of his lyrics? Sanjay sir, he said, no, nothing doing. These are the lyrics now. Don't talk about it. So now for the next couple of days, what I did is I used to reach office 15-20 minutes before Sanjay sir. He used to come at 9:30. I used to reach at 9 o'clock, 9:05, 9:10. So I would go pick up a cup of coffee and wait outside for him to come. And we were still in Vikas Park ground floor office of Yash Raj at that time. So I would stand out, okay, and I would wait for his car to come. And when he would step out of his car, Sanjay sir, and as he would go inside the office, I would whisper and mumble, केकड़ों के दरमियां सैकड़ों हैं लड़कियां. This
is going to be epic. People are going to hate us after this. The industry is not
You are going to get
work.
me banned from the industry. But so I used to sing this every day. केकड़ों के दरमियां सैकड़ों हैं लड़कियां, केकड़ों के दरमियां सैकड़ों हैं लड़कियां.
Javed Saab is going to get so mad.
Javed Saab is going to kill me. Sorry Javed Saab, I love you so much. I'm so sorry. Anyway, तो मैं ये करता था रोज. 4 दिन हो गए तो Sanjay sir got so annoyed with me. He went to Adi and he told Adi sir that Adi sir, Mayur is fucking my happiness.
I love it.
Every day he's doing kekdo, sekdo. I am not being able to visualize the song. As a director, I am seeing all crabs everywhere. मुझे केकड़े दिखाई दे रहे, मैं shooting कैसे करूंगा ये गाना? Can we please ask Javed Saab to change this? So apparently they went back to Javed Saab and they told Javed Saab that, can we do something about this? And now I don't know this is true story or not, but this is what I've heard, okay? So apparently Adi sir told Javed Saab that Sanjay has some thoughts about the first song. So Javed Saab said, "बताइए क्या problem है?" So Sanjay sir said that I don't like the phonetics. Of so he said, and apparently Javed Saab said, "जनाब phonetics पे एक किताब लिखी है हमने. पहले आप वो किताब पढ़ो." And you are telling me what phonetics is? You read a book on phonetics. पहले आप अपना you understand and then you talk to me. He said कि सैकड़ों जैसा अल्फाज आज तक इंडस्ट्री में इस्तेमाल नहीं हुआ है.
इसीलिए नहीं इस्तेमाल हुआ है.
Please, it's a very good word. And he's right. I learned that when I became a songwriter, I learned that how non-musical words can also be musical. Like I wrote a song called To Dishum.
Yeah, but then that was a title track. It's
No, but
different.
Pritam had refused. Pritam had told Rohit that don't ask me for a title song in this film because Dishum is not a musical word at all. I will never use Dishum. And first thing I wrote was To Dishum, and I went to him. Pritam hates me for that. But the song was a hit, so who cares? So what I'm trying to say is that Javed Saab was not wrong. It was my inexperience or whatever. And Sanjay sir's cockiness or whatever you want to say it. कि हम भिड़ गए उनसे. So that discussion didn't end. Then Adi sir asked me, what had you written that dummy for this song? Because I used to write dummy lyrics for Pritam. I used to write this dummy ka dummy, parag dummy. I had written एक लड़की थी जहाँ एक लड़का था वहाँ ऐसा कुछ था. तो इसे हाँ अच्छा ठीक है हो गया. He went back to Javed Saab and he said, Javed Saab, you know, I was just thinking के whatever songs you have written with this phrase एक लड़की, they have been hits. एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा, कत्थई आंखों वाली एक लड़की. So तो Javed Saab said, हाँ ये तो बिल्कुल दुरुस्त बात है. एक लड़की से लिखे हुए गाने हिट होते हैं. तो apparently Adi sir told him that why don't you start this song also with एक लड़की, like एक लड़की something एक लड़की. And Javed Saab, the great Javed Saab, legendary person that he is, he said हाँ तो लिखिए एक लड़की की तुम्हें क्या सुनाऊं दास्तां, वो पगली है सबसे जुदा, फूल बरसे लोग तरसे जाए वो लड़की जा. Unbelievable. Brilliant. Absolutely. He slayed it in like 2 minutes. That's the genius of Javed Akhtar. Unbelievable. How first song itself, we had so much fun and so much story happening behind the making of it. It was great. It was great fun.
In the song, there's a cameo by Sharmishta Roy. She's the production designer on the film.
Yes. The bespectacled girl next to Uday, that is Sharmishta Roy, the production designer of this film.
Behind Tulip Joshi, in a yellow shirt, sleeping in a theater, Mayur Puri himself.
So I have to again tell you, we were shooting this song in Switzerland and we had very little money and very little crew and there were no junior artists or anything like that. And this scene, even though this shot is inside the theater, but we wanted to finish the song because the choreographer was very big. Ahmed Khan was the choreographer and his dates then coming back to India and then getting his date would be difficult. So we had thought of this one shot, which would be that they're watching a movie together. And so we found a small theater in Switzerland. So we went to shoot inside the theater, and then in the wide shot, at least there should be some 20 people sitting behind, right? Who's going to be there? Because theater can't be empty. Behind Uday and Tulip, we need to fill it up with people. So Sharmishta sat next to Uday. And I said, I will sit behind. And then when I saw the first frame, Sunil Patel was the cameraman, I saw that my face was getting cut half. So I told Sanjay sir, I said, Sanjay sir, can I pretend that one person in the audience has slept? Can I be that one? So he said, it didn't matter. Nobody will notice this. I don't know how you have noticed. Nobody has ever noticed this. Yes. You have a PhD in noticing things that nobody cares about.
You take that back, sir.
So yes, it is in yellow, in a dirty yellow t-shirt, bright yellow, horrible colored t-shirt. I'm sleeping because I wanted my full face to be in the frame and not cut half. Squeezed myself in, pretending that I'm sleeping. Like that, I pulled my head inside the frame. Yeah, that's me.
I want you to tell me the story of how you moved a train engine in the making of this song.
Oh my God.
And which shot was this? Because I want to know which shot.
At the end of the Antara, I think it's the first Antara only, and we were shooting just outside our hotel in Switzerland, Saanen. Just outside Start, there is this place called Saanen, Saanen, and the hotel that we were staying in is called Saneroff. And Saneroff is where DDLJ unit had also, all the DAR unit, all the units have stayed. Yashraj ka units used to go and take over that hotel. And this railway station where it is shot is right outside that hotel. Like we come out of the hotel and you walk 20 steps and you are in the station. So we are shooting the song and there are apparently trains every 10 minutes. And the shot that Ahmed Khan sir wanted was Uday and Tulip, they will be hugging. And as they hug, the timing has to be such that they hug and the train comes on that beat. Ta-tak, ta-ta-ta-tak, that beat where the train should pass. Now when we set up, first train was just observation. Rehearsal happened where the first train passed without stopping. We said, okay, fine. This is where the camera should be, and we understood the geography of how to place things and all. When we put the camera, the rehearsal again happened and the second train passed, and then we saw that on the right hand side of the frame there was another stationary train near the platform, and its engine was like half cut inside our frame, and it was not balancing the frame correctly. We can't change the setup now because the next train is coming in 7 minutes. I wish I could move this train. Now this entire station is operated or run by one person. So there is this one lady who is behind the counter. So she's the station master, she's the clerk, she will give you the ticket. So their magazine store and everything is run by her only, and there's no other person in the station. So I went to her and I told her that, ma'am, is it possible for us to move that engine? She said, yeah, of course we can. It takes time. I said, how much time? She says, 5 minutes. I need to lock up my office. So she had the keys to that train and she could also drive the train. So she locked up her office and I ran with her and sat in that train, which engine was coming in our frame, and pulled it away for 20, 30 feet or whatever till it was out of the frame. And just in time, in 2 minutes, the train was coming and we got that shot, with a clean shot of train passing. And it's only in Switzerland you can do that. It's crazy that she just locked up her office and she came and she moved the train for us. It's unbelievable.
Amazing. That's really interesting. Okay, Ria is like, I've come to a conclusion. I think you are in love with Anjali. And he says कि तुम्हारे दिमाग में ये बात आ भी कैसे सकती है? And she says, तुम्हारे पास दिमाग होता तो तुम्हें भी आ जाती. Why not? तुम्हारे पास दिमाग होता तो तुम्हारे दिमाग में भी आ जाती.
Because it's a shorter way of saying the same thing. It's faster, it's crisper.
Every time I see it, it just तुम्हारे पास दिमाग होता तो तुम्हारे दिमाग में भी आ जाती. It's such a natural way to...
Yeah, I know. But what happens is that I'm not a big stickler for grammar at the cost of performance. I will sacrifice grammar if the performance is going to be better. So I always go with what is helpful to the actor. Because if they can convey the emotion more correctly by speaking wrong grammar, that is what is more important. See, language is a tool for communication. It's not a tool for propriety of... And what is grammar? Grammar is just conventions. We just made up these silly rules that it should be like this and it should be like that. Mark Twain used to do a lot of spelling mistakes and he might have been dyslexic. People say that Newton might have had ADHD. Mark Twain used to do so many spelling mistakes and his publisher used to send him back the proof. And at one point of time, apparently Mark Twain wrote to him that, sir, I have no respect for a person who can spell one word in only one way. Something of that sort. So I'm not a stickler for grammar as long as it helps actors act better.
I love her argument. What she says is absolutely correct. If you had brains, even you could have thought of a possible scenario that you were in love with her.
Also, in an argument, especially between friends, the argument works or the repartee in a scene works when it is not thought too much, when it is very tap promptly. So you'll borrow words from what other person has said and you will say something in the same line.
Sanjay has this realization in the middle of the night. I want to know what triggered him or what convinced him, because he's by himself. There is no scene that you've written, or you may have written a scene which I don't know about. What is that one thing that triggers him to come to the conclusion that, okay, yes, I am in love with her? He knocks at her door in the middle of the night and he's like, no, you were right.
The first thing is, when good team working together, when I don't write everything myself and I leave some things to performance, I leave some things to camera, I leave some things to direction, but I'm working with them, continuously telling them that this should come across, even though it's not written. So say, for example, now go back to the scene where the phone call comes. When he reacts on the phone call, first time he hears, acha, thing is wrong. When he says, main khush hu, there's hesitation written in the script that he says, hesitatingly, he says, main khush hu. You know that something is wrong. Hesitation happens when the clarity of thought and clarity of action is not together, right? So that is happening with him. So we know that this character has suddenly become an unreliable narrator. He's not reliable anymore because he's behaving shadily. What happens when shady people talk? They'll shift their look. They'll correct because they are nazar nahi mila. Ye sab conventional wisdom hai na ye sab to. So he starts behaving like kuch chupa raha hai wo. Ye to usi waqt se hai, which means he always knows. He always knows that he loves her. He's not being able to tell it to himself. He's not being able to tell it to the world, but he's always loved her. And now all the relationships that he has had are a reflection of what he wanted from her.
Yeah, because she says कि तुम तो अंजलि को ही ढूंढ रहे थे हमेशा से.
हर लड़की में अंजलि को ढूंढने की कोशिश की, लेकिन कोई उसके जैसा ऑमलेट नहीं बना पाई, तो किसी की कान उसके जैसी नहीं थी. Exactly.
So my thing was like when she says ना कि 8वीं बार टूटा है 11 महीनों में, वो इसीलिए.
Correct. तो वो 8 लड़कियों में
वो अंजलि को ही ढूंढ रहा था. अंजलि तो एक ही है.
So he always loved her. He always knew it deep down inside his heart. He did not have the guts or the courage to confess it to himself or to others. What would I show inside his room that he's pacing and he's thinking? there's no need to show that. It's much more dramatic and much more interesting that they slam the doors, they are very angry, and the light changes, it becomes late night, and he comes slowly. The full energy में exit किया था, slam किया था door, and now slowly he's coming, slowly. Audience is wondering, what the hell? Dramatic. What is happening? What is happening? He knocks the door, she opens the door, and he says, "You are right, I love her." That for audience is a big victory because with his actions, he has already proven Riya right in the previous scene.
Yeah.
He has already proven to the audience that he actually loves Anjali. He has already proven that. And we have seen the song also. We have seen the two of them in the song. All of this has happened. So audience already saying, "Arey, idiot, we know." Riya also knows and we also know that you love that girl. You are an idiot not accepting it. So when he accepts it in front of Riya, it's like he's surrendering to the will of the audience. He's surrendering it. He's like, "हाँ, आप लोग सही थे. You are well intelligent. I was only an idiot. Now you want to support him."
He says that men are dogs and I took her for granted and I should have accepted this before. Now it's too late. And Riya thinks that he's accepting the fact that, okay, she's moved on and she's getting married. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're so mature. I really support you," and all of that. He's like, no. I don't think you understood. I am not going there to support the wedding. I'm going to break the wedding.
This was the first scene which I had with complete clarity before I wrote this. According to Adi sir, a good film should have 3 mind-blowing new scenes. New scenes which have not happened before. 3 of them at least. Wonderful scenes. And no bad scenes. The rest of the scenes should not be bad enough. They should be tolerable, palatable. But 3 mind-blowing new scenes you have to have. Then it's a film. And I had these 3 scenes before I wrote the script. The first one was this. The second one was the interval scene. And the third scene was when in the pre-climax, Sanju decides that no, I have given up. I'm going back. And Rohit asks him to stay back. He says, "How can you go, yaar? Abhi abhi to dost bane." So these 3 scenes I had absolute clarity. I had these scenes before I started writing the actual screenplay. The funny thing is none of these 3 scenes have girl as an important character in them. It's about these 2 boys all the time.
But for me, those aren't the 3 scenes.
That's why a lot of people, when they used to hear the script, they used to laugh at Sanjay and Rohit's equation, and they used to say, it's a bromance and wow, it's such a gay story. And but yeah, I had a lot of clarity about this scene and I love that scene. I think it was way ahead of its times. It was very new. It was very fresh. That the boy is saying that, men are dogs. I never understood what she was. I never put myself out. I never did anything for her. And it's really wrong of me. So you feel that he has accepted that he doesn't deserve her. And then Riya says that, "Arey, so what are you going to do?" He says, "Nothing. I'm going to the wedding." So she says, "Oh my God, you're so mature that tum jisse pyar karte ho, you are going to go in her wedding even though you love her and she's getting married to someone. You're going to be a part of this wedding." And he says, No. I'm not going to be a part of this wedding. I'm going there to break. And I've written that you hear the sound of a plane taking off. And then it cuts to Dehradun.
When we get into Anjali's house, you see barrage of characters introduced one after the other. Anjali's mom, she's singing some shlok. She ends with Om Shanti Shanti Om. You literally manifested Om Shanti Om.
I don't think I was conscious of that, but Om Shanti Om is, or Om or Shanti is how you normally end a recitation or a puja or whatever. Whenever we do puja, we finish all the mantras and then you go Om Shanti Shanti Om. Because you want to manifest peace, happiness, prosperity in the universe all the time.
From this point forward, you should just write stuff so that it self-manifests in films.
My God, I've just written an action film. What have I manifest? Blood and gore?
I was talking about lines, not action. Then there are a lot of dialogue cuts also. Like, मुझे नहीं पता था वीर जी इनसे इतना डरते हैं. When Kaputa is introduced, she's like, कि डरे मेरी जूती. The dialogue cut is a style of writing that you've picked up from Suraj sir.
Yeah, I like Suraj sir also, and Woody Allen also does that. A lot of people do that, and it's a great way. This is a very important thing for young writers to understand. If you're especially writing scenes or if you're writing dialogue, you must understand that every time you end the scene and you write cut to, it's not really cut to. What it means, it should be actually joined to. The idea is to make the film go seamless for the audience. From one scene to the other, they should not be reminded of the fact that it's a film or there was a cut in between. They should not be reminded of that. We write it at the end of the scene, but that's written because it's actually a join to. That transition should be as seamless as possible. You should write it in such a way that the audience doesn't get reminded, or it should just flow. The disbelief should continue in the story. So for example, in Maine Pyar Kiya, there's a dialogue cut. Sometimes it's a visual cut. Dialogue cuts are in your hand as a writer. Visual cut is in the hand of the editor and in the hand of the director and the cinematographer. They have to shoot it like that. Then a visual cut can be executed and you can be in control of that. When you don't want to give that control out to the other people, then you do a dialogue cut because then it's more in your control as a writer. In Maine Pyar Kiya, there's a very nice scene where Prem and Suman, they are talking and he says, "Dosti ka kusul hai, madam, no sorry, no thank you." Okay, she says okay. Cut to Ajit Vachhani is getting up in the house saying, "Okay, Kumar Saab, because your brain, when you're watching the movie, it's going from these two characters ka intimate friendship ka beautiful mid close up to shot kind of a shot to an extreme wide shot of the house and these old people talking. It's a jump actually, but because of the dialogue, so you don't even think about it. The dialogue kind of connects, it just joins the whole thing together. So it's going to be block shots, and I also know the director. I've done a film with him earlier, so I know that his shots are going to be block, 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 block. So when a block is cutting to another block, I better stitch it with a connecting line or a connecting word or a thought. So it's a little conscious effort there, and it makes the viewer experience very seamless and easy.
So Anjali's mom and the entire family, they're having a conversation where she says, जिसने तुम्हारी शादी में धूम मचाई थी वो धूम मचाने वाला तो अभी तक आया नहीं. Now I don't know if people know, but Sanjay Gadvi Mayur Puri's film after मेरे यार की शादी है was Dhoom. He's just written manifesting films one after the other in the same goddamn scene.
So I'll tell you, when Sanjay sir's first film, which he had planned in his life, okay, I was not a part of it. I came after that. That project was abandoned. He shot one song for that film, okay, and that film was called Tu Hi Bata. He shot one song. It was Ashok Mehta was the cameraman, and Viju Shah was the music director. Anand Bakshi wrote that song. Arjun Rampal is a hero in that song. It's a beautiful song. I've seen that song. Only one song was shot for that film. That film never happened. So that was Sanjay Gadvi's first directorial thing. And that film was called Tu Hi Bata. Film that happened was called Tere Liye, or the first film which actually got released under Sanjay sir's name. That was called Tere Liye. So when we were joking about what third film he should make, I used to always say that, sir, I don't know about your film, but you should make a film called Main Kya Karu. So he's like, what? I said, because Tu Hi Bata, Tere Liye, Main Kya Karu. तो हम जो मैनिफेस्ट करते हैं वो नहीं होता है, और जो अनायास या एक्सीडेंटली वी मैनिफेस्ट थिंग्स वी डोंट नो. Dhoom and Om Shanti were accidentally manifested in मेरे यार की शादी है.
Farah ma'am doesn't know that Mayur has written मेरे यार की शादी है.
Why? She doesn't know.
The other day when I met her, she was talking about, oh, at that point in time, Mayur had not written a big film. I said, yeah, big nahi. Yash Raj production is big only, but I had to keep quiet because I didn't want to open my mouth sitting there because assistant की आत्मा जग जाती है ना. So I'm like, मैं कैसे बता दूँ इन्हें? बस की एक picture है. देखो, he's written stuff before and I really like that film, but I couldn't tell her.
In a way, Farah ma'am is right that I had not written something of a big significance before Om Shanti Om. I had written Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi and it had released. It was not a flop. It was not a big hit also. It was okay. So yeah, if she says that Om Shanti Om is kind of Mayur's first film, she's not wrong.
She didn't say that. She just said that he had not written a big film before and she didn't care because you were so talented. She called you a genius. So she said ki he's such a genius, like I wanted him on my film.
Yeah, it was very strange because I still get surprised that she stuck by me despite the fact that I was not very well known as a writer or anything. And plus, I had a lot of arrogance and ego in those days. Not with her, but generally. I was very cocky, even though I had not achieved anything. When you achieve things, then you become humble, then you become sorted in life, right?
I was about to say.
I did not write Dhoom because I said, I don't want to write a cops and robbers film. It's a stupid formula film. And instead of that, I wrote a film called My Name is Anthony Gonzalez. Yeah, My Name is Anthony Gonzalez was a Shakespearean tragedy set in Mumbai underworld. So it was very exciting for me. I didn't do well. I chose to write that film because I thought it's an experiment and it's special. See, being an artist, you should always be ready to put yourself out and take risks and do mistakes, right? And I still don't think it was a mistake. I think My Name is Anthony Gonzalez taught me a lot of things about writing, about how you write and how it is perceived, how scenes go wrong, why they are not shot well, and that's the reason when I wrote Om Shanti Om, I was very clear about how am I going to write. I've written in the first opening sequence that the hero on the stage throws his jacket in the air, the jacket arcs in the air and lands. So all detailed description is there. You have the same show, you have the script, you have seen it, right? Om Shanti Om script.
Big story. I got to read the script before the release of the film, and if Farah ma'am gets to know, she's gonna kill me. I read the first half because obviously he didn't want to give away the second half.
No, but you are assisting me, so it's okay.
We even figured out कि धूम के लिए क्या जोक होना चाहिए in the award ceremony. We had a couple of ideas there also. Though our ideas did not make the cut, but we had pretty funny ideas that we had thought of.
Yeah.
But I read it and it was exactly how I imagined it.
That's the great thing about good directors. When we made Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi, and I'd finished writing the script, I was told to go to Yashji's house and narrate the film to Yashji and Pam Aunty. And Pam Aunty heard the whole film very, very seriously. I wasn't so sure about Yashji. I was very scared. But the next day he walked into the scripting meeting and he spoke to me and he said, लड़की को संभाल. So I understood कि ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि लड़की का character संभाल लेना. ऐसा Adi explained it to me. I later on learned how Yashji speaks, understanding what Yashji is saying little later. So So I had narrated it to them. Then it took a year for us to do the pre-production, make the film, post-production, and release. Just before the release, like a week or 10 days before the release, we had this wonderful trial, one of the greatest nights of my life. Just for family, friends, crew, and all, we had this wonderful trial at Globus in Bandra. We saw the film together, and it was madness. Everybody thought that there's no better film than this. This is after DDLJ, एक ही picture बनी है. This is not my words, Adi sir's words.
क्या बात है?
आज तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि DDLJ के बाद यही पिक्चर बने, दूसरी बनी ही नहीं है. So people were so happy with the film, and then we had a little party in Bombay Blues. We had so much fun. Sanjay sir came to me and he said, Mayur, everybody is congratulating, everybody is saying good things, but let's go and talk to Pam Aunty. Her opinion matters the most to me. So he dragged me to Pam Aunty. He told Pam Aunty के please tell me honestly, Pam Aunty, आपको क्या लगा फिल्म देख के? So Pam Aunty said, Sanjay, let me tell you one thing. I don't know whether you'll understand how big a compliment it is that I'm giving you, but let me tell you, 1 year ago, Mayur came to my house and he narrated a script to me. Today I saw exactly the same film. That's a great compliment to a director. That I heard a script and you made exactly how it was written. And Sanjay sir immediately said, ma'am, I totally understand what you're saying. And it's a great compliment. Probably the greatest compliment that I can get as a director. Thank you so much.
That is amazing compliment.
And same thing happens with Farah also. You read Om Shanti Om script and you see Om Shanti Om film. In scale, it will be little bigger than your imagination, bigger than my imagination also. In terms of tonality, in terms of performance, in terms of graph of a scene. It's exactly what you thought of when you write it. It's fantastic. But every director is not like that.
And this podcast is happening because of Farah ma'am, by the way. If I had not met her that day and if she hadn't asked me about you, we had not met in years, okay? And
Whose fault is that? You don't keep in touch.
Place. So I was in a dark place. I was away from everybody. So then I was like, okay, I need to like at least tell him what ma'am said. And then I told him that, I was doing this podcast. And then he said, oh, and I could have done this film by myself also. You know that. It would have been cheating for me. I told you the same thing. Let me just ask him if he wants to be a part of it. It has taken us 3 months to get here. Today, finally, the day is upon us. And we are recording this. And I'm very glad. I don't know, for some reason, Farah ma'am pushes me in some ways where I'm like, I have to do this. She said this and now I gotta do this. Like knowingly or unknowingly, she's really pushed me to do this. Yes. So thank you, Farah ma'am.
Farah ma'am के हजारों अच्छे कामों में से एक ये भी.
क्योंकि हम ओम शांति ओम के बारे में बात करेंगे. Obviously not today, but we will talk about
that will need 2 episodes.
Detail. मुझे मतलब half a day studio book करना पड़ेगा कि भाई बात करनी है इस पिक्चर के बारे में. And obviously all of his other films. I'm sorry I'm booking you for all the films that you're gonna write, direct, whatever, because you're not allowed to talk to anybody other than me.
Okay.
And you're accepting this right now. You go back on your word and see what I do to you. So, coming back to Sanjay's meeting with Anu, which is Anjali's older sister.
Yep. Tanaz Karim.
Tanaz Karim.
Oh my God. She's such a lovely person.
So she's like, तुम्हें कोई मेरे जैसी लड़की मिली जो तुम्हें सीधा कर सके. And he's like, कहाँ एक लड़की थी जो सुना है उसकी भी शादी हो रही है. And Anu is like, what? मुझसे भी mind blowing. And he's like, नहीं तुझसे mind blowing कैसे हो सकती है? ये समझ ले तेरी छोटी बहन है.
Yeah.
I have seen scenes where people are like, बस इतना समझ लीजिए आप ही की परछाई होनी चाहिए. तुम ढूंढ के रंग रूप में अपनी परछाई लाना. And here he's like, तुम्हारी छोटी बहन ही है. I'm like, हाँ वो उसकी छोटी बहन ही है that you love. So why is this thing that you guys do? Like all of you.
I didn't think about it so much. When we are writing, it's a very innate process. Yeah, no, and you don't consciously think about these things when you write. You just write, right? Because now I teach screenwriting also. So I have been thinking about these things, that why this works and why this does not work and why I wrote like this. I cannot say about Adi sir or I cannot say about Surajji, but I can talk about myself, where I'm coming from. And I think it is true for them also. Probably if you get to speak to them, they'll probably say the same thing.
I'll make you speak to them, don't worry.
It comes from respect for your audience. So what happens is, as a filmmaker, do you think you are smart? Your characters are smart or your audience is smart? Who's the smartest?
The audience is the smartest.
According to me, my audience is the smartest. Then, second number, I am the smart. And my characters are the third smartest. Okay?
Because you've written them all.
Yeah. So now, what happens is the fun is when I put audience on a pedestal. In my script also, I make them smarter. I don't withhold information. I told them certain things which characters don't know. but audience knows and I know as a writer. So it's a joke between the author and the audience. And you see this throughout in Om Shanti Om also. Out of respect for the audience, you have involved them in that joke. They are a part of your writing. So you are on the side of the audience already, right? And your characters don't know everything. So you know and the audience knows. It comes from Hitchcock basically. Hitchcock said that you want to build a thriller and there's a room in which there is a bomb and five people are there. You know that whole story, right? Audience knows that the bomb is ticking. It's more fun because you keep the audience wise, keep the audience smart. Yeah. Don't take your audience for granted. उनको बता के करो ना तो ज़्यादा मजा है.
So in the next scene, you see that Anjali plays a prank on Sanjay. I'm not a big fan of that prank because in my mind I'm like मयूर ने कुछ ही अलग कुछ prank सोचा होगा जो बजट के वजह से अप्रूव नहीं हुआ होगा.
हाँ, I think एक दो नहीं तीन pranks थे, तीन या चार pranks
I
थे.
know you.
Which were very elaborate. There are two things. One thing, budget is also there and shoot wise also because the idea was to get into their friendship and to not get hung up on the prank so much. You know, it doesn't matter what prank she plays, but their friendship is good enough that they can play pranks on each other. That's it. कुछ नहीं, he's running, she's running और बाल्टी ऊपर से गिरेगी और तू ही गिराएगा. So I'm the one who's actually out of frame, throwing water. All these kind of timing things, Sanjay sir used to ask me to do it. Because I was very good at this. It was not important.
So अभी हम में से कोई नहीं जानता है कि what Rohit's character is going to be because introduction नहीं हुआ है, कुछ नहीं हुआ है. We just know that she's getting married to somebody who's a doctor. Little backstory we get of Sanjay that his mom died really early, then his father also died, and then his house was sold away. Kind of Sanjay का story काफी sad है. How much ever I want to be like, oh, you're not mature enough, or you know, how could you not take accountability? It just makes me.
Yeah, because what Sanjay is trying to do is very evil. He's trying to break a wedding. Wedding is a very sacred thing. It's God has decided this union should happen. He's doing a satanic thing actually, trying to break the wedding. It's a very big thing. So as much sympathy you can get for this character, it will help us. So purposefully we made his character to be, अरे बेचारा उसको माँ ने है, बाप ने है, कुछ नहीं है. He's literally an orphan. He literally has nowhere else to go. And nobody's going to think, अरे बॉम्बे में तो he was living with Riya.
But he's working in an ad agency, no?
And working in an ad, which we never show.
Yeah, ये खाली dialogue में आता है, by the way.
Yeah, but because we didn't want to empower him with those things. His power is only relationships and emotion and goodness of his heart, and that ad ka job is there so that you know that he's stable and he can take care of a family. And so whatever were the conventions, within those conventions we've tried to break a few things. We tried to do as cool filmmaking as we could. But somewhere it was also like a diploma film for us. We were also making it to prove it to the world that, okay, this is the kind of films you like. You like 6 songs, you like this, you like Shaadi, you like Naach Gana. We can do it. हमको आता है करना. Next opportunity we got, we made Dhoom.
Which was a big leap.
Yeah, so ऐसा नहीं है कि we didn't want to do different stuff or crazy stuff or whatever and we were not capable of. But at that time, what we could do, we did.
So I really like the झूला scene because she says that last year इस झूले को काटने की बात हो रही थी.
Oh yes.
And I didn't eat for like days because
You made it for me.
like it also symbolizes their friendship because the same झूला is used in एक लड़की की तुम्हें क्या सुनाऊं दास्ता also.
Yeah, we took that jhula to Switzerland. We transported the jhula from Jaipur, I mean Dehradun in the film, but we shot it in Jaipur. So from there, it was transported to Switzerland and we hung up on a random tree. But yes, it was important. And there's so many things about a swing, just the memories. A jhula architecturally is a place which gives you a semblance of movement even though you are at the same place.
That's nice.
All kinds of storytelling. When you have jhula, you don't need to go anywhere. You're rooted. But at the same time, you're with the whole world. Symbolically, it's very important and interesting for me to have a jhula. So I wanted their friendship. In itself, it should be complete. But at the same time, it's not static. There is a movement. There is growth.
And there is liberation for the both of them in the friendship.
Yes. It cannot happen in a garden. It cannot happen on a sofa. In Sanjay and Riya's apartment in Bombay, there is a couch, which is very important property in their relationship and in their house. And everything around that couch is bare so that they can move get up on that couch, and that red couch, that also has a story. But that relationship is steady.
It's a ठहराव वाला thing where you sit and discuss. Like the gateway scene में bench पे बैठ के discuss.
Like the gateway scene. Correct. So it's more ठहराव. It's more that relationship itself doesn't go forward or backward. A jhula signifies a relationship which will go forward and backward. Right? उसमें अच्छी चीजें भी होंगी, बुरी भी होंगी. अच्छी बातें भी लगेंगी, बुरी. There's movement in that relationship. It's alive. That relationship is more alive. That's why that jhula is so important for us. I don't know whether anybody gets this or not, but for me, it's very important where the scene is happening.
Yeah. The location of the scene is very important.
It's very important. I really think about these things. When I write the scene, I think about where my characters are placed, what is happening. Because it's a visual art. You know, cinema is a visual art.
Of course. Visual medium. Show me. Don't tell me.
Show me. Don't tell me.
Sanjay was instrumental in her going to America and then meeting Rohit. So Sanjay is like, लोग अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारते, मैंने कुल्हाड़ी पर ही पाँव मार लिया.
That's a fourth wall break.
A line that I love.
It's a very juvenile joke, actually. But the thing is, I love it because that's the only place where there's a fourth wall break.
Yes, I was about to say.
So he says it to camera.
Yeah.
And it's very weird in this kind of a film to have a fourth wall break. It's very weird. And then again to go back to the story and make it believe as if it has never happened. That moment has never happened. But he's just, and that's again his attempt at getting audience towards his side. I'll tell you very honestly, as writers, we were very conscious of the fact that Uday Chopra is not a conventional hero or accepted or loved by people. Only one film before this, which was Mohabbatein, in which also he was probably the third lead or fourth lead because there is Amitabh Bachchan, there is Shah Rukh Khan sir.
I love him.
And then there is Jimmy Shergill, Jugal Hansraj, and then it's Uday Chopra. In fact, Adi sir used to joke all the time, कि Uday को देखने तो कोई आएगा नहीं.
You take that back, sir.
Uday is very clear about these things.
I understand, but I'm saying that you guys presented him in a way.
Yes, and we loved Uday. The thing is, if you hang with Uday, we call him UC, Uday Chopra. UC is an unbelievable human being. He's so loving, he's so care, and he's such a good person. He's amazing. He doesn't take himself seriously. He's not an actor, he's an assistant director on the shoot. And assistant ki atma is his phrase. What you just said little while ago, that came from Uday. When we used to shoot in Switzerland, because smaller units, so you have to carry the equipments. Everybody picks up whatever they can and they shift to the next location or wherever. And sometimes you're climbing a mountain or trekking or whatever. And Uday would lift the heaviest equipment. So I would always run to him and I'll say, Uday, please, we have people, will do it. You are the star, you don't do it. And he'll be like, Arey yaar, assistant ki atma Mayur, it never dies. Assistant ki atma kabhi marti nahi hai. Because he had assisted Aditya Chopra sir on DDLJ. So assistant ki atma marti nahi hai kabhi. He's a very, very lovely person. I really, really want him to do films. So we loved Uday. I wanted especially that audience should also love Uday the way we love him. That's also the reason why we created Alibi, because we love him. So we want audience also to love him, to see that side of him, which is irreverent, which is funny, which is cute, which is nice. Constantly needs to remind audience that he has a relationship with them. The biggest problem with a star son or a star kid is that audience feels alienated with them. The problem is that you feel that, Arey, he's already a big shot. So how will a common person relate to that person? So it's very important for that star kid to break those boundaries and to become one with the audience. Ki yaar, main tumhare jaise, I'm like you only. I'm one of you. How do you do that? So we did that little bit by making him an orphan, giving him sympathy, making him like a normal working person. Character-wise, we are trying to make him charming and endearing and equitable to the audience. He is not telling the audience if he has beaten up 10 people and he looks at the camera and says, Dekha maine kaisa in log ko mara. That won't be relatable. But if he has fucked up, he's screwed up, he's made a mistake and he tells the audience, look what a mistake I have done. Now that's relatable. That's very cute and
flawed,
but the audience are nahi bacha koi baat nahi, chal tu apna hi hai, no problem, you know. So it's very conscious. These things are on our head that anyhow we have to make sure that people love Uday in this film.
We come to the song. Sanjay wants to know about Rohit. The Humne Suna Hai song.
Humne suna hai, tumne jeevan saathi chuna hai, that one.
I know a different version which I really, really love.
See, I'll tell you, the tune that Pritam and Jeet they had made, what I had loved about the tune was the attack of the entry notes. So the tune went like ta-ra-ra-ra, ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra, ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra, ta-ra-ra-ra-ra. That was the tune. And I loved the attack. I loved that ta-ra-ra-ra. And iska dummy lyrics, because I was busy with something, so I was not in that music sitting. And I'm not joking, the dummy lyrics were written by Adi sir himself. And Adi sir wrote it, ke प्यार हुआ है आज पहली बार हुआ है मुझको तुमसे यार हुआ है मान मेरी जान. Loved the dummy.
I love it.
I loved this dummy lyrics. So I told Adi sir, we will change the situation. We'll make a new song for this situation and let's take this song and put it somewhere else in the film because these lyrics are amazing. Those days Adi sir was also so funny. He just started laughing. Are you mad or what? पागल हो गया क्या?
यार ये Adi sir हर argument पे are you mad or what?
Yeah, ये पागल हो गया. नहीं, I'm not a lyricist. Javed sahab will come and write. Tune यही रहेगी. Tune lock हो गई है. इसी situation पे रहेगी कि वो जो छेड़ रहा है लड़की को उसके परिवार के साथ में. Don't worry about the lyrics. And then Javed sahab came and Javed sahab wrote हमने सुना है तुमने जीवन साथी चुना है. Beautiful lyrics, wonderfully written and very nicely निभावing the situation. But only thing is that attack, that tarara became tararara, वो थोड़ा change हो गया. Also situational song बनाना ही बंद कर दिया आप तो लोगों ने.
मैं होती तो झगड़ा कर चुके होती आदि सर से. तुम लोग नहीं कितना डरते हो उनसे.
तू होती तो एक हफ्ते में निकाल भी देते तेरे को.
हाँ तो ठीक है ना, झगड़ा करके ही निकलती.
No, I was too poor to fight.
No, I am still poor, but I will still fight. What is right is right. खत्म
Okay.
बात. तुम लोग बहुत डरते हो यार. मतलब I know Adi sir is not gonna hire me, but I would still fight.
No, he'll hire you. ऐसा कुछ नहीं. He has a lot of love and respect for people who can speak the truth and stay by their beliefs and do good work. You know, he only cares about that. I don't think he cares about anything else.
Obviously संजय का prop जो है, that's the hero prop, जिसमें चिंपैंजी का फोटो है. बाकी सबके printouts were cheap. His was at least glossy.
Yeah, वो office से एक printer we had taken to the shoot and we were just using that to print.
No, but Uday's one is still like a better quality. वो लगता है hero prop. By hero prop, I mean, I'll give you a story. You know the How I Met Your Mother का prop guy is David Baker. His handle is @DaveProps. So I asked him, because I love yellow umbrellas, I tweeted to him saying, how do you keep the yellow umbrellas clean? Because it's a task. So he said, we have 4 hero yellow umbrellas. Not just for the heroes, for the like main characters. And the rest are like essay. I was like, oh, you have 4, that's why you can maintain. I have 1, I can't.
Yeah, by 4.
I'm like, I'm poor.
Yeah, but we did that in Dhoom also when we had the bikes. As many bikes you see in the film, we actually bought double the number of bikes. So we had 2. So there were 2 bandits. The yellow bike that Uday is riding in the film, we had 2 of them. One for rigging, one for him. And then Hayabusa also, John Abraham is riding one Hayabusa, but we had 2 Hayabusas. And the GSXRs also we had extra because need extra bikes for rigging, for other stuff.
Of course. For anything, for any prop that is important, you need multiples. Yeah, you never know what is going to happen to them.
Yeah.
So इसमें तो फिर भी प्रिंट आउट है जिसमें से हीरो का प्रिंट आउट बेटर है than all the other people. But I get it.
Part of this song was shot inside the studio here in Bombay and part of it was shot in Jaipur. We did not have all kinds of access at all the times. We are on the shoot, we have a printer, whatever photograph we could find available, shot, take a print out and use it. Because the requirements come last minute. At the time of the shoot, if choreographer Ahmed Khan says, can I get 10 photographs of chimpanzees? Okay sir, half an hour, can I print it? So it's like that, it just happens.
Correct. Like
It's all
last minute
things,
thing.
yeah.
I recently noticed the whole choreography of the song, like you said, it's inside and outside. It's very like how in Mr. India parody song where they start outside and then they go inside, then they come back outside.
Yeah.
And Ahmed Khan is a child artist in that song.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of influence of that in this song.
Probably, I don't know. Khan Saab has only choreographed. One thing I have to tell you about Ahmed Khan, he's unbelievably fantastic technician. He knows his cuts, he knows his edits, he knows it so well. We were shooting this song, part of this song in an interior set here in Bombay, and 6 months later we were shooting in Jaipur because there was one shot he put up and I said, do we need the children or not? Those 2 little kids are also there in the frame. Do we need them or not? And he said that no, we don't need it because iska previous cut mein they have ran and they have crossed on the other side, so they are not in this side of the frame. I said, no, but sir, it's my job, just let me check it. So we checked the continuity pictures and everything and he was right. But he was in such a hurry. He was like, no need to check. I'm telling you, they're not there. But he was so right about it. Like 6 months ago, he shot something and he remembers the shot. He remembers what he shot 6 months ago. So fantastic technicians. It's just a joy to work with him.
That's great. So Rohit's intro. I do not like Rohit.
Please don't say that. I love Rohit.
मतलब बुरा नहीं है, पता नहीं क्यों. Maybe I love Sanjay's character way too much.
That's the intention.
वो जब entry भी होती है उसकी, there's a riff of जागे जागे in the background.
So
when he's introduced, पूरे scene में वो चलता है riff हल्का हल्का पीछे background में. This is his theme. So he's trying to impress everybody from the Dadi to Kappotai. And
Kappotai is named after my real Mausi, but I didn't want to make Kappo Mausi, so we made it Kappotai.
So he gives her a book saying Feng Shui and she says,
Mui kaun si sui?
I love this line. I love this line so
So
much.
one of the biggest kicks of my life, no, Abby, this I have not told anybody, but it's very important because you're asking all the right questions today. So let me tell you.
I always ask all the right questions.
Yes. So my kick is that I should write or create a scene in such a way that it should look so real and so organic that people in retrospect should think that this part or this particular line or this scene must be improvised by the actor. It must not have been written.
Yeah.
But it's not. So this Mui kaun si sui sounds very improvised. It's like something that actor would have just said it in that moment, but it's not. It's intentionally written. And I'll tell you, I'm not the only one who does it. There's some writers who do it consciously. I love that scene in Chachi 420 where Kamal Hassan is talking on phone and he's pleading to somebody and he's saying, please aap meri baat maan lijiye. The telephone is lying on the table where Paresh Rawal is sitting and he's having vada pav. Kamal Hassan is holding the phone and he says, ki please aap meri baat maan lijiye, main aapke pav padta hu. and he goes to touch the phone and Paresh Rawal takes the plate away saying ye mere pav hai. All the intelligence and wisdom I have and all the theater that I have done and all the serials that I have done, all the films I have done, I always thought this has to be improvised by Paresh Bhai. It's unbelievable and such a genius improvisation. So when I met Paresh Bhai once, I asked him, I said, remember this scene? And I said, I'm sure you have improvised Paresh Bhai, but what a great improv that moment is. That मैं आपके पाँव छूता हूँ and he says कि ये मेरे पाँव हैं. Paresh Bhai said, नहीं Mayur, it was in the script. It was a part of the script.
Wow.
The same thing in DDLJ, he says, आप तो genius ही नहीं, indie genius है.
I love that line.
That's in the script. That's not improvised. It's a script ka line. What a line it is.
What a fucking amazing line.
It looks like it's improvised, but it's not. You've intentionally written it to make it very real. Mui kaun si sui is one of those lines.
So Rohit na here says something on the lines of, if I wasn't your would-be son-in-law, you would have expected me to respect the dadi and take her blessings before you guys, the mother and the father. It's important plant because it pays off later.
Post-interval first scene.
You did that intentionally, right? You were like, I want to be the son of the house and not just the son-in-law.
Yeah, because at interval the things are going to go so bad, heated, and then in second half the way we were scripting, they are behaving as if it has not happened only. Everything is normal. So I told Adi sir, it's such a big thing has happened. At the interval, he's caught drinking with this girl singing Sharara Sharara, and all of that has happened, and this whole traditional family has seen it. There's no denying.
But he's just dancing. What's the big deal?
But it suggests a lot. गोदी में लड़की को लेके डांस कर रहा है मतलब it's a bachelor party said. Bachelor party में क्या होता है सबको मालूम है. We can't show all of that, but it's suggestive enough for people to understand.
Said and suggestive.
And the way everybody's reacting also, you know, they are reacting, oh my
As
God,
if,
what is happening? So that means something bad is, but it's a parivarik film. So we are not going to show it that way. Family members also behaving, कि हाँ, Shaadi is on and everything is. So I said, how can that happen? Adi sir, I need something Rohit will have to do. And Adi sir said, you're right, but I'll give you 3 minutes of screen time. Just do one scene. To have that scene, I had to plant it in his intro scene.
We have not seen a meet cute between Rohit and Anjali in terms of their love story, but we see a meet cute kind of a thing between Sanjay and Rohit. He says, तुम संजय हो ना? I was looking forward to seeing you, buddy. संजय मल्होत्रा, दुनिया का वो दूसरा शख्स जो अंजलि के बेहद करीब है.
He says, पहला,
दूसरे तो तुम हो.
Ah, I love my writing.
I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a great line. It's a great scene
And
actually.
you're not wrong. He's just stating facts.
This one you have to give Uday for good delivery. Okay? This was fantastic delivery.
Absolutely.
He says, पहला. दूसरे तो तुम हो. It's very nicely done. Very nicely done.
I love that Uday has delivered it like
yeah,
so
it's
perfectly.
fantastic. Yeah, I'm very proud of the scene actually. It's a wonderful scene. And I'll tell you a story. In those days, we used to take the VHS recording of everything that we have shot in the day. And I used to personally carry that tape. And I used to make something called a DSR, which is the daily shooting report. Now, I've heard that these days it has become a norm. Like every production house uses it. But in those days, I think I was the first person as a chief AD to start doing that. Daily shooting report will have basic information for the producer. So I used to make it because Adi would never come on the sets. And I didn't want my producers to not have information about what we are doing. So I always wanted him to know. So I had made a format of DSR, which he was very happy with. The whole day's footage, the scenes that we have shot, we would have that VHS going to him. And he would watch it late in the night. And then next day, if he wanted to tell us something, he would call on phone. But usually he never said anything. He just for his knowledge, it was there. So that he's happy with what we are doing. This scene when we were shooting, and if you remember the shot, it is Uday is coming from the top of the stairs. From one side, Rohit is coming. In one of the takes, Jugal Hansraj had come to visit on the set. So now Jimmy Shergill, Jugal Hansraj and Uday Chopra, 3 of them are there.
It's a Mohabbat reunion.
Yes. So what we did is, and it was not the first take. So first take has happened, second take has happened, the last take has happened. Okay, take bhi ho gaya hamara. Then we said, let's make one take. We'll not waste film stock for it, but only on the video we'll make it for Adi because he's going to see it in the night. So that take is where Uday is coming from the top, Jimmy is coming from one side, from the other side, Jugal Hansraj walks in the frame. So 3 of them, they look at each other like Gurukul, Gurukul, Gurukul. And they look at the camera and they say, we love you, Adi. And
he is so lucky. Like people love him and they do such things for him. God damn it.
so we shot that and we sent it to Adi and yeah, it was good. It was great fun. Just imagine that I made Aditya Chopra laugh in the middle of night. He told me later on that my gir gaya haste haste. It was so funny. I could do that. I could add joy to that man's life for a little while.
Nice. So when Rohit meets Anjali, he says this, भगवान मैं आ गया हूँ, अब इस लड़की से कहो कि आपको ज्यादा परेशान ना करे, जो मांगना है मुझसे मांग ले. She's like, तुमने क्या किया? And he says, प्यार किया है तुमसे. And I'm like, It's making me cringe.
It is a bit cringe. It's okay. We are trying to show a new love story through Sanjay's point of view, which means as a counterpoint, the other love story has to be as corny, as cliche as it can, but nice, not like insincere. See, again, remember this thing. Rohit is never insincere. He's very sincere. But that love story is your regular love story, and this is the new one.
If I'm reacting in a certain way, it's because you as a writer intended it, correct?
Yeah, that's how it should be.
रोहित says, इतनी दूर से आया हूँ, मुझे कुछ तो मिलना चाहिए. Half a kiss, a hug. What the fuck is half a kiss?
Yeah, it's stupid. It just doesn't mean anything at all. So this is Rohit and Anjali's relationship, and you should feel queasy about it. What is this? What are they talking? This nonsense, goody goody love. Yeah.
You either kiss or you don't. Half a kiss. Yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah. And Sanjay's is real in contrast. Whereas actually it's not really real. In real life, people don't behave like Sanjay behaves in the film. But to make that believable, you have to do more cringe or more. If Rohit is saying things which are very meaningful, then you will start investing in that love story. And we don't want you to do that.
Understandable.
In a successful, good love triangle, you're constantly being played upon by the filmmaker. You feel that your feelings are your own, but they are not. They have manipulated you. So we are constantly trying to make the audience invest more and more in Sanjay and disinvest in Rohit. This is the first half also. Please remember, in the second half, we have made it equal. But first half very heavily favors Sanjay. That's how it is written. And we could have only pulled it off with an actor like Jimmy Shergill.
Of course, Jimmy is a great performer. So in the next scene, we have a conversation between Riya and Sanjay. And Sanjay has admitted defeat. He's like, Riya, मैं वापस आ रहा हूँ. I don't think I'm better than Rohit. ये इतनी जल्दी defeat कैसे? मतलब, how does he think that Rohit is better than him?
Because Rohit, in very little screen time and within one scene, he has won over every single person. The only ability or only superpower that Sanjay has, what he thinks is his superpower, is that he knows this family. He knows everybody and he knows what everybody likes, and he thinks it's going to be very easy for him to win over everybody. But this fellow who's come from the US and he's not lived with this family, but through Anjali, he knows them so much better that within one scene, he's able to win over every single person. Not just overall, like every single person. This shows that he is really close to Anjali. He must have learned about the family from Anjali, right? She has told all this to Rohit. That means Rohit an upper hand.
When I watch it as an audience, I think that he's done his homework.
At the same time, a girl will always go to a person who's interested in her life, who knows about her, who listens. The biggest complaint that women have is that men don't listen. Rohit must have heard when she spoke about her family and everything. So you know that he's a better choice for her.
Well, that's debatable. I agree that Sanjay really needs to work on himself, and he may not be the right choice in the moment, but eventually he will be.
Yeah, because love makes you do things. Love makes you a better version of yourself. That's the whole point of all love stories, isn't it? That we push ourselves, we become better. So there are different qualities and attributes that a person will have to acquire if he wants to win over in love. And that makes you a better person. It makes a better version of you.
I remember this line from मैंने प्यार किया, which I think is one of my favorite lines. प्यार सब कुछ सिखा देता है पापा.
Correct. He says, कैसे सीखोगे? तुम्हें तो सीखना भी नहीं आता प्रेम. And he says, प्यार सब कुछ सिखा देता है.
पापा. I love that line.
Absolutely. I can't believe that Surajji had never written dialogue before this. It's unbelievable. It's so mature. His writing is so mature.
But we have to discuss मैंने प्यार किया like on a separate podcast altogether. Moving on, I want you to tell me about Sanjay and Gayatri Auntie's equation.
Gayatri Auntie, who is Anjali's mother, their equation is what an ideal equation should be between a mother-in-law and a son-in-law. I wanted to create an equation which should be an ideal thing. And for me, any relationship that is ideal, it could be any two people in the world, the ideal relationship is friendship. दोस्ती से बढ़ के दुनिया में कोई रिश्ता नहीं होता है, वो सबसे बड़ा रिश्ता है. If I want to create an example, if their relationship is exemplary, अगर एक मिसाल बनाना है एक son-in-law और एक mother-in-law के रिश्ते को, तो उन्हें दोस्त बना दो. And that's how it's great. He calls her girlfriend because she is his girlfriend. He can share anything with her except the fact that he loves Anjali. He can share anything with her.
But I also wanted to ask you, was there a backstory as to why he calls her girlfriend? Because I really wanted to know that. Knowing you, I'm sure कुछ तो सोच के लिखा होगा.
I had a scene in mind which is a childhood scene which is not there in the film, and I knew it was never going to be because we never went into the childhood of Sanjay and the story of how he grew up as an orphan with these people helping him. He must be very young. He must be like preteen or something, and he must have heard this word ke girlfriend. Who will he go and ask? Who is he close to? obviously he can only talk to Gayatri. Yes, so he must have gone to Gayatri and he said, what is this girlfriend? And she must have told him कि अगर कोई लड़की होती है और वो दोस्त होती है तो वो तुम्हारी girlfriend होती है. So he said, अच्छा तो तुम मेरी girlfriend हो. Like that, it was as innocent as that he started calling her. और बचपन से girlfriend बोलना शुरू किया तो बड़ा होकर छोड़ थोड़ी देगा. Because the honesty of that relationship should remain the way it was. That innocence and that honesty I wanted to have between Gayatri and Sanju.
Also, I think that she really loves him because भोग लगाने से पहले वो संजय को दे देती है खाने के लिए जलेबी.
बच्चे भी तो भगवान का रूप होते हैं और उसके लिए तो बच्चा ही है वो. It has happened with me because my nani was very strict. But when I was young, if I have eaten something, everybody will throw off it. But my nani would always protect and she'll say, okay, he's हमारे घर में बाल गोपाल है. He's a small child. He's a version of Krishna in our own house. It doesn't matter. If he eats first, it's okay. The God is not going to feel bad about it.
यार मेरी मम्मी तो खाना नहीं देती थी मुझे जब तक मैं मंदिर जाके जलना चढ़ा दूं शिव जी को.
You lived in a Rajshri film.
There's a telephonic conversation scene between Anjali and Rohit where they're being very cutesy and lovey-dovey.
Yeah, we stole that scene from Friends.
I know. What I wanted to know was, you have shot that scene in the mirror reflection.
Yep.
Because Sanjay is doing his nonsense, getting under the blanket, making faces because he's absolutely not liking what is happening. You guys have just tracked into the mirror reflection. Is there some interesting anecdote why you chose to do this?
Yeah. Number one is that Sanjay sir was very clear that this will only work if it's a single shot. We cannot have cuts in this. Because if we have cuts, then the whole tempo will go that he's getting more and more and more and more agitated. Now, with actors also what happens is if the shot is longer, that anxiety, it's still not a cut. It's still not a cut. There's still not respite. They have to still keep performing. That keeps growing. When you have a scene where is progressively getting agitated, irritated, it's very nice to do it in a single shot because the actor himself or herself while performing will be a little
on the edge.
Yeah. Because, oh my God, it's still not a cut. And you can see that in that shot that Uday wants a cut. He wants a cut. He wants a cut and we are not giving him a cut. Because we are tracked in so much that the only way to compose that last frame, which is, in fact, we shifted the mirror and brought it at that place so that we could get it.
Nice. Now comes my favorite scene, the ice cream scene. Rohit gets chocolate, Anjali gets boring strawberry, and Sanjay gets a little blackcurrant, a little mango mint, and a lollipop. Variety, my dear, is the spice of life. That's what he says.
I'll tell you, the writing of that scene happened. Me and Adi sir, and Sanjay sir was also there, and we were just going on, what should happen in this scene? My idea was, because Sanjay knows so little about their relationship, the only way he can make it go kaput is if he has some ammunition, if he knows what is their relationship built on. And then if he starts poking, he's gathering intelligence and acting upon it at the same time. He's like a spy in that scene. Because he knows Anjali is as such a traditional girl. She's a modern girl, but as such, she's grown up in a traditional kind of a family. So, and obviously Rohit, being Rohit, he's grown up in the US and वहाँ पे थोड़ा casual है because वहाँ बड़ी normal बात है. This is me and Adi sir and Sanjay sir discussing कि वो क्या सवाल कर सकता है. What can he ask and what can he do to sabotage the relationship? So obviously one thing is to ask about somebody's past and also trying to take down Rohit by implying that he's fickle and he's had many relationships. So maybe this is not one forever or things like that. And while we were discussing that, I said my simple thing is that you know how rational and how logical sometimes I go into. So I'm like, but won't Rohit also ask about Anjali that, you know, you will also be having past? And I'm not joking. Adi sir immediately said, तो क्या हो गया? Sanju बोलेगा इसका past मैं हूँ.
He is a genius for saying that.
And I fell down laughing and I said, oh my God, now I have to construct the scene in such a way that this line comes very naturally, very organically, but at the same time, it should not affect anything else.
Yeah, it should not be a threatening thing for Rohit.
Correct. It should be just, अरे इसका पास मैं हूँ. And we worked really hard in the rehearsals with Uday also to get that line right. Because I said there should not be an iota of seriousness when you say that. And Uday was like, but I know why I have come here. I know that I love her. How can I say this casually? I said, no, it doesn't matter. I have to say this casually because if you dwell upon it, the audience will dwell upon it and then it will break the whole illusion. The whole fun is that you are only casual about it. I think great performance by Uday in that scene. Fantastically,
I think this is one of the new scenes that you were talking about. This is one of them. Apart from the Jhula wala scene, this is one of those scenes. Yeah. Sanjay starts off by saying, ऐसा लगता है कि तुम्हारी life भी boring ही है because he's already called Anjali's ice cream boring, strawberry. So either he's very cheekily saying कि you know, तुम्हारी choice देख के लगता है कि Anjali is the first and the last girl you've had a relationship with. And
so promptly Jimmy says, Of course not. Of course not. That of course not is also, it's a brilliant performance. It's so prompt. Very cocky. And he doesn't even think that there's anything wrong with it.
हाँ, उसको नहीं पता ये use होने वाला है उसके against.
Because he is naive at that point. He doesn't know what evil Sanjay is.
She's like, "Ki girlfriends." Sanjana asks, "What do you mean by girlfriends?" So Sanjay says, "Girlfriends, लड़की जो दोस्त हो, दोस्त कम, लड़की ज्यादा." अब ये क्या होता है यार?
क्योंकि एक लड़का लड़की कभी दोस्त नहीं होते.
Uday has given such a wonderful performance when he says, "लड़की."
Those come, ladki zyada. Yeah, he's playing a game, right? He's overacting a little bit. He's trying to get everybody in his trap. And he's successful in that scene.
Anjali storms off and he's like, "Sorry, brother, I'll have to go." He's like, "My fault." And the next cut is Sanju saying on the cliff, "It's not your fault." I love that scene because it starts with a close up and then when you track back, you reveal that he's on the edge of the cliff pretending that he's throwing Rohit off the cliff. This is again another new scene that I have never seen before.
Yeah. Again, the idea was that audience should be like, oh my God, is he really going to throw Rohit off the cliff or something like that? But it turns out that he's just pretending. And while he's pretending, he starts to fall. And then who saves him? But Rohit. It's like the penalty shootout. One team scores a goal, then the other team has to score a goal. Every scene was constructed in such a way that this scene, it'll be Sanju winning. Then the other scene, it'll be Rohit winning. We'll have to keep doing that. Of course, then the pattern itself becomes predictable. So then we drop it in the second half. But this scene has a very interesting shooting story actually. I had not seen the locations before. We couldn't do a recce for Switzerland. So we just went there. We were just going every morning to some particular place and shooting. And the thing was that people like Ahmed Khan, who was the choreographer, and he had been to Switzerland many times. So he's like, meko malum hai Switzerland everywhere. Wherever you put camera, it's a location, not a problem. We'll shoot anywhere. But we wanted a cliff and the local guys, they were helping us to find one. So nobody had seen the cliff where we were shooting and it couldn't be a very high cliff because to be very honest, that's in today's day and age, that scene will not be shot the way we had shot it because we had zero action crew. We had nobody from the stunts team, no safety, nothing. So we reached that cliff at the bottom in the cars. I told Sunil Bhai, the cameraman, and Sanjay sir, I said, why don't we get the camera out? You all set up the block. I will go up. And I'll stand in Uday's position and see whether it is working or not. And Sanjay said, yeah, you run. So I ran up the cliff. In the meantime, they all got the camera and they set up and all. And now I was on the cliff and I was acting like Uday, like giving my hand out. And I was stepping forward and forward and forward. And Sanjay sir from down the cliff, he panicked and he started screaming, Mayur, go back! Go back, Mayur. And I'm like, no, I'm safe. I'm fine. He's like, no, go back. I command you. I'm your director. I'm telling you, if you take one step forward, I will come up there and kill you personally. Go back. And it was so amazing. And it was so nice that Sanjay sir, as such, he was a very strict director and he used to dart us all the time. Even in scolding, there was love and there was care. You know, he worried for my well-being and safety. And he was like, go back, go back. And I'm like, nay, but you won't be able to see properly. Let me come a little more forward and all. Or वैसे भी मैं तो living on the edge type थोड़ा daredevil हुई.
ये लव स्टोरी 2050 का डायलॉग यहाँ डालना क्यों जरूरी था?
बता रहा हूँ मैं. So I have very, very, very fond memories of shooting that scene. It was great fun. I think we had one rope. They had to alternate between the two of them who is going to tie the rope and who is going to be on the other side. They literally actually had to help each other to stay in the place. Great work.
What is the process of acting for Uday and Jimmy? Because two very different actors.
Chalk and cheese.
Their approach to a scene would be very different. They have worked in Mohabbatein, but they were different characters. Here, it's dynamically opposite characters. And Hollywood के जैसे आप लोग table read तो करते नहीं हो कि आपको पता चल जाए इसका tone कितना रहेगा, कैसा रहेगा.
We did readings in the vans and in the green rooms and all. We would do readings on the day of the shoot. In fact, I don't think Uday and Jimmy even had a narration for the film. They were not narrated the script. They were just told that this is the film you are doing and they landed up on the shoot and I would give them their scenes and read out their lines and then we would rehearse once or twice and straight go to the shoot.
How did you make sure that the chemistry between the two of them translated on screen?
It was the first 1 or 2 days that they were shooting together. We started shooting with Uday first. In fact, the first shot to be canned for Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi had an Uday close-up. Because Sanjay sir was very hell-bent on this that I will start with Uday. I'm definitely going to start the film with him. That should be the first shot. Normally people start the movie with a shot of Ganesha or some Bhagwan or something like that. They roll the camera on that. But we said, no, we are going to shoot with first. With Uday, we had already done one schedule. Uday and Bipasha's scenes in the Bombay apartment, we had already done. So there were Bombay interior apartment. Couple of scenes we had already done. So we knew Uday's working style. Uday is a kind of a guy who works very hard before the shot itself. And first take, second take, you will get what you want. First, second, third take maximum. Like little corrections you tell him and he'll do it. But if you continue more, like fourth take, fifth take, Uday doesn't like that. He's already worked hard. So we realized that, and Sanjay sir is again a stickler for him, unless 8 8 or 9 or 10 takes happen, nothing gets okayed by him. I remember there was a joke on the set of Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi. Deven Verma ji cracked it. There was some take 3 or something going on. The clapper boy was roaming around with take 3 ka clap and Deven Verma ji told him, ये क्या 3 लिखा है, 13 कर दे, वरना तेरा डायरेक्टर अप्रूव नहीं करेगा. उसको 10 के ऊपर ही दिखते टेक नंबर, नहीं तो नहीं दिखते. Coming back to their acting styles. Now, so Uday is a 1, 2, 3 take का actor. After that, he has to work very hard to not become mechanical after the 4th or the 5th take. Because he's already put in mental physical work before the first take. Jimmy Shergill sir gets warmed up on the 4th take. और पहले 2 टेक 3 टेक तो ठीक है यार कर रहा हूँ ये ऐसे हो यार. And he's a brilliant actor, but his 5th take will be amazing. His 6th take will be even better. His 7th will be outstanding. His 8th will be brilliant. So he'll keep giving you better stuff after 1st, 2nd, 3rd take. When we started shooting with both of them together, we realized this कि oh shit, Jimmy Paji gets warmed up after 3 takes. 3 take में उदय का एक्टिंग खत्म हो गया.
Oh fuck. Don't say that. Acting खत्म हो गया. Poor Uday. Uday, I'm sorry on his behalf, okay?
No, Uday knows this. We have discussed this so many times. This Uday only told me. He said, bro, this is going to be a problem for me because ये तो मतलब I can't do that 10 takes for everything. So we started working the other way. So I would rehearse with Jimmy first, 1, 2, 3 or 4 takes, and I stopped rehearsing with Uday after a point. We just literally stopped. Uday would be keen and dying कि ये लोग क्या rehearsal कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, मैं भी आऊँ. I'll say, नहीं, you see, you just stand away. You're not rehearsing. You're not rehearsing. So we will save his performance for the take and not rehearse with him. It's just helping Jimmy figure out what he wants to do. It's his performance. He would decide, मैं यहाँ पे ऐसा करूँगा, मैं यहाँ पे ऐसा करूँगा. So we'll just play with that a little bit. And when we know that now Jimmy is ready for a take, that's the time Uday's first 2 takes will be like a rehearsal take. So we worked around that thing.
लेकिन आदि सर ने क्यों नहीं बताया? वो तो पहले डायरेक्ट कर चुके हैं दोनों को. थोड़ा देना चाहिए ना ऐसा विजडम.
नहीं, every film is different and I think Adi sir must have focused so much on Mr. Bachchan and Shahrukh sir that I don't think he would remember also ये 3 लड़कों में से किसका acting style क्या है. We used to never discuss shooting process with Adi sir. He used to never get involved or interfere or anything at all in the shooting process. He would be very keen on working on the script. He'd be very keen on working on the music. According to him, once we have achieved a draft that we all are happy and music is ready, then it's your film. Then you all go and make it. To be very honest, as a director, I'm sure Sanjay sir also thought the same thing and I would also do the same thing, that I would want to discover what my actor's process is while I'm working with them rather than acquired knowledge. On the day of the shoot, I'm interested in the camera, I'm interested in lighting and I'm more focused on those things. On the shoot, if you're trying to direct the actors, it's too late.
Yeah,
all that has to happen before. And maybe if I make another film, probably it'll be a different process. And a director should always be open to understanding what actor's style of work is and work around that, because actors are important because they are the final vehicle of your thought delivery. As a writer, director, what you have thought, the final delivery vehicle is the actor. If something goes wrong there, then audience will not get what you're trying to do. So it's very important to take care of actors during the shoot and how they perform and what is their comfort level of working. But I would say that inspire them to do their best.
Nudge them in the right direction.
That's exactly a director's job.
We never get a meet cute of Anjali and Rohit. We just get to know in the dialogue that
he made a jhula for her.
He proposed to her on the same jhula in US. Why didn't you guys show it?
Because we don't want you to invest in their love story. Have we shown you Sanjay and Anjali's any talky portion or a dialogue portion of their childhood or of their growing up? We never showed that. So if we have not invested in one hero, you should not invest in the other hero also. Then only the illusion or the suspense of a love triangle can happen. A love triangle may, if the audience gets to know what the girl is thinking, girl or whatever the object of affection is. In a love story, there's a subject-object dichotomy. Love stories always work if there is a subjective point of view. Kiski love story. And the object is who they love. So here, there are love stories of these 2 boys who are in love with this one girl. Now, what is going on in her mind if the audience figures out your movie is over? You cannot reveal what is in her mind till the last scene. Otherwise, it won't hold. So it's a mystery. What Anjali wants is always a mystery till the last scene of the film. She never favors Sanju more than Rohit or Rohit more than Sanju throughout the film. If you notice very carefully, she never takes sides. I mean, she'll fight with Sanju, but that's the nature of their relationship. And she will romantically talk to Rohit because that's the nature of their relationship. What is going on in her mind, nobody can say till the last scene.
But when I was watching this scene, I was like, उसने झूले को देखकर हाँ कहा, which Sanjay also says. I'm like, correct है. वो झूले के लिए हाँ बोल रही थी. वो खुद भी बोल रहा है कि मुझे पता नहीं, मुझे हाँ बोला, ये झूले को हाँ बोला. I'm like, yeah, that is true.
It's a trick. It's just to keep the hopes alive in the audience's mind at that time. That no, there is hope for Sanju, because if she said yes to that moment and not to Rohit himself as a person, but to the whole thing, that jhula, and it's connected with her past and her childhood memories, and that will somewhere give you hope for Sanjay to keep it alive. Otherwise, after Rohit's entry, it's very difficult to keep interest in the film because Sanju is so down at that moment. After Rohit's first entry, it's like game over. But then you have to constantly keep his hopes alive.
So actually, Sanjay is a total fire starter. He is the agent of chaos. But somebody calls him the Magic Man. Is that title given to him by Gayatri Aunt?
I think so. I think from childhood when he has probably made things happen for you always know that Sanjay is a jugadu. He is a person who does things for others. He puts himself out. I was very sure that he is a very active lover. For me, a hero is that. For me, a hero is always somebody who does things, not somebody who just sits around. However noble or however good you are as a person, you still need to show that. You still need to work towards it. So audience knows that you are good, right? You have to prove it constantly. Sanjay is like that. Probably he's done many things like this throughout the childhood to help Didi, to help Mama, to help Bhaiya, to help Gayatri, to help Anjali, her entire family. That's why they call him the Magic Man because he will do anything for them. It's a subtle indication that in past he has done things for them. He has been an active person in the family. He's not been somebody who's just an outsider.
Because when I watched it, I'm like, it has to be Gayatri Auntie and nobody else because...
Yeah, she's his girlfriend.
So we were talking how Saurabh Shukla's character plot is the plot B of the film.
Yeah, it's the subplot which mirrors the main plot of the film.
So they are having a discussion when Rohit and Anjali are fighting because he has put the seed of doubt in that cliff wala scene.
Yes, that's the engagement scene that you're talking about. It was scene number 28, I remember, in the script. And it had so many small cuts. So I had written it like 28A, 28B. I still remember it went up to K or something. It was a very complicated scene and we had only one day to shoot that whole chunk. And I remember Adi sir had told us, ये तुम नहीं कर पाओगे, एक दिन में नहीं होगा, this is not possible. Me and Sanjay sir, we were very ziddy. We said, no, because there were so many junior artists, the entire cast, there were 13 lead actors in that scene and the whole jing bang of dancers and junior artists. Such a big tamjam, we didn't want to continue that for more than today. If you see that entire sequence, it will take at least 3 days to shoot. But we shot it in 1 day.
They are fighting because he's not apologized. She's saying, you promise me that I get to come back home 2 times in a year. And because he's a doctor, he said that won't be possible. Lachu Mama is like, Sanjay tu bhool ja, matlab jodiyan to upar wala banata hai. Sanjay is like, no. I'm not giving up so easy right now. Abhi to bichara utha hai udhar se, where he was like, he's better than me.
Sanju is a very optimistic character. They don't go down easily, people like that. The difference between Sanju and Lachu, so the difference between your plot B and plot A is that Lachu Mama accepted what fate gave him. The hand that he was dealt, the girl he loved liked somebody else and he gave up. He never fought for her and she got married to somebody else and he has this lifelong regret. But he's trying to cope up with by saying, Jodiyan upar wala banata hai. That whole scene is actually a moral, philosophical argument between destiny and free will. So Lachu Mama is representing people who believe in destiny and Sanju is representing people who believe in free will. That you change things, you can manifest things, you can get what you want. अगर किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात तुम्हें उससे मिलाने की साजिश में लग जाती है.
लेकिन as per Sanju, it's जो दिल की राह पर चलता है वो दुनिया बदल सकता है.
Now see, it means the same thing actually. मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि एक ही आदमी ने लिखी है ये 2 चीजें.
ओहो, आपके चरण कहाँ हैं? कहाँ है आपके चरण? And of course the song ले जाएंगे दिल वाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे. कितना ट्रिब्यूट दोगे भाई आदि सर को? पिक्चर वही प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं.
तुमने खुद ही सवाल किया और खुद ही जवाब दे दिया. Genuinely, we were very gratituous, we were very thankful for the opportunity. हमारे मन में बहुत स्नेह, बहुत आदर और बहुत प्यार है रहेगा और उस वक्त भी था बहुत ज्यादा. क्या थे यार, हम लोगों ने तेरे लिए बनाई थी, फ्लॉप पिक्चर है वो, मतलब 80 लाख की पिक्चर थी, वो बड़ी मुश्किल से रिलीज हुई. और who were we were nobodies. Sanjay Gadve and Mayur Puri, who are these people? But Adi trusted us and he gave us such a big opportunity. So of course we would be thankful to him. What's the big deal? If you produce my film, I'll give tributes to you also.
Of course I'll produce a film. I just need to get rich. I will produce all your scripts. जितने scripts है जिनके बारे में मुझे पता है और मुझे पसंद है, मैं तो ऐसे at the snap of a finger produce कर दूं. Idiots are people who are not producing his film.
Thank you. तो ये open offer है जो लोग सुन रहे हैं उनको. If anybody wants to invest money in a good film and have peons sung about them in the movie and have tributes given to them, they can contact us. We are available for this service.
Now Sanjay does this thing where he says that, oh, there's a bachelor party, but he's not being very hush-hush about it. He's pretending to be hush-hush about it. And he's like, किसी को कानो कान खबर नहीं होनी चाहिए.
Yeah, but it's very deliberate that सबको खबर होनी चाहिए. The bachelor party was Sanjay sir's idea, obviously, because he was the coolest amongst all. I'll be very honest with you. Sanjay sir was very cool.
Really?
More, yeah, cooler than Adi sir, cooler than I was. We were more traditional type.
Okay, I've not met Adi sir, so I can't say if he's cooler than Adi sir, but okay.
But Sanjay sir was very cool. Like, he grew up in town and he was a towny boy and South Bombay, and he knew things, and like we knew about bachelor parties and all, but we were like, a Hindi picture mein bachelor party ajib nahi lagega, like who does it and all. But he was like, no, we'll have a bachelor party sequence. It'll be very cool. It'll be super fun and all. This is the most Indian bachelor party that you can see ever.
Also, Yashraj, no, tab tak they had not ventured into, like, I know Diwar and all movies, they are action movies, Kala Patthar, all action movies, but I'm sorry, like, the foray into the big leagues of action did not happen until Dhoom.
Like someday when I meet Adi sir again, maybe, I really want to ask him, how did he explain the bachelor party ka concept to Yashji? Because I was not there. And obviously he must have taken Yashji's approval. He must have told him something that we are planning this kind of a sequence. I don't know what he told Yashji, but I would want to know.
I think he would have said it's a party that the boys are having.
Yeah, but with dancer girls, and because Yashi knew the story, he knew that in the end of that song, Jimmy Shergill, Shamita Shetty को अपनी बाहों में लिया हुआ और दारू पिया हुआ पाया जाएगा. He knew that. He knew that that's what is going to happen in the film. So he must have explained. Adi must have explained something to Yashi that this is what happens in a bachelor party, and because I was never asked to give that explanation to Yashi, and I don't think even Sanjay sir explained to Yashi. These kind of important and complicated and what I used to call bhayankar conversations. These bhayankar conversations Adi used to do on his own. He used to keep us away from volatile issues.
He must have explained that ये होगा तब उसका character और ऊपर जाएगा.
Must have. I'm just saying that I would love to be a fly on the wall.
That arc is important. अगर वो गिरेगा नहीं तो फिर उसे उठाएंगे कैसे?
Sure. Yashji was cooler than all of us, by the way. Yashji was cooler than Sanjay also. He would immediately understand. There's no big deal. He would have said, cool, karo. That's not a problem. But I would just love to be a part of that conversation. I would have loved to.
We know that Rohit is a doctor, correct? What does Anjali do?
Nothing.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
No.
You have not given any profession to the
I think
heroine.
she was a student now when she went.
But what was she studying?
Not important.
She would be doing something in life, right?
In no way a girl's profession or any boy's profession, anybody's profession has anything to do with who you choose in your life as a loving partner. It doesn't matter if she would be an architect or if she would be a chef.
वो चीज ऑमलेट बहुत अच्छा बनाती है, वो शेफ हो सकती है.
वो हो सकती. How does it matter? It doesn't matter to Sanju. It doesn't matter to Rohit. Why should it matter to us?
See, for me, in this movie, I relate more to Riya because she's a working woman.
What does she do?
She's a model, yes.
She's a model, yes.
You see Joyita Chatterjee, one of the ADs in the background. We forgot to mention in the last scene. I am sorry, I know my film that I love. हाँ, तुमने भले लिखी होगी, लेकिन मेरे से ज़्यादा fan नहीं हो सकता कोई.
She's a model, that's true. But I'm still saying that it doesn't matter. In this film, I'm not saying about the other film. I have empowered Gayatri. You see how she has the reason that the climax happens. I have empowered the girl that her choice, even audience doesn't know till the end of the film. If you see throughout the film, she's quite empowered.
I do get that. I just wanted to know what is it that she does because it was a little difficult for me to relate. Knowing you, the kind of stuff that you write and what you would have thought about, because मुझे लगा कहीं ना दिमाग में आपके होगा कि हाँ वो ऐसा कुछ करती होगी. ऐसा तो नहीं है, आप ऐसे वुमन कैरेक्टर्स तो नहीं लिखते हो जिसमें उसको कुछ नहीं आता या वो कुछ करती नहीं है. You do not. मुझे खटका तो डेफिनेटली उस टाइम भी खटका था जब मैं 12th grade में देखा है मैंने.
नहीं, you are right about it. You produce the film will make the girl whatever you want her to be. Because in 22 years, nobody has ever asked me what was Anjali's profession in Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi, and it's a valid question.
I know his writing process and I know he must have thought something. There are many scenes that you write as a backstory which may not come in the film, but I know you always have something at the back of your head that, okay, this is happening because of this.
Back of my mind, I always thought Anjali was a research scholar.
And that's the answer.
It doesn't matter. It's not important.
So now we come to the Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi hai poem.
है आज मेरे यार की शादी मगर मैं खुश नहीं हूँ. है किसी के प्यार की शादी मगर मैं खुश नहीं हूँ. मैंने रोका उसे, टोका उसे, समझाया भी, देके वास्ता अपनी यारी का मनाया भी. उसकी राह का पत्थर बना और कांटा भी, फूल बन के उसके सामने मुरझाया भी. लेकर के चल दिया है वो बहारें दहेज में. है गुले गुलजार की शादी मगर मैं खुश नहीं हूँ. है आज मेरे यार की शादी मगर मैं खुश नहीं हूँ. है किसी के प्यार की शादी मगर मैं
खुश क्यों नहीं हूँ मैं?
You know what? I said this whole poem while trying to remember it because I think after 20 years I've gone back to the scene in my mind and I could remember. I think I was right?
Yeah, you're right. Almost absolutely right. Is this the full poem or did you write a longer version and this was the cut down version?
No, I only write as much as I'm paid for.
I'll pay him extra so that he writes more.
जितना पैसा मिलता है मैं उतना ही लिखता हूँ.
Some people had this thought that Javed Saab has written this poem.
Javed Saab wrote the songs for the film, all the songs, but this poem was a part of the dialogue of the film. So of course I wrote it. It was very strange because nobody was using poetry as a device in dialogue of a film. So it was very weird. When I read the scene first time, I can still remember the look on Sanjay sir's face and Adi sir's face. And Adi sir looked at Sanjay sir and Sanjay sir had that little proud expression कि हाँ मुझे तो पता ही था कि मयूर अच्छा लिखता है. अब तुम्हें भी यकीन हो गया. And I remember that Adi sir said it's very weird that you've got a poem right in the middle of the dialogue of the scene, but somehow it works. And I'll tell you why. Because Sanjay is pretending at that time. He's playing like a host. He's playing like this extra large character kind of a thing. And it's the beginning of the bachelor party when he's saying this whole thing. It starts with absolute truth. Audience knows. बट दैट एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ कि आज मेरे यार की शादी है मगर मैं खुश नहीं हूँ क्योंकि किसी और से हो रही है, ये बात ऑडियंस को पता.
Correct.
ऑडियंस ने मान लिया, कबूल कर लिया. 1 घंटे से वो ये पिक्चर देख रहे हैं. ही इज सेइंग दिस इन फ्रंट ऑफ रोहित, ही इज सेइंग दिस इन फ्रंट ऑफ एवरीबॉडी. मामा नोज दिस एंड इट्स हिज रिएक्शन एंड द अदर पीपल आर लाइक ये क्या अजीब सी बात कर रहा है वो. एंड देन ही गोज ऑन. इट साउंड्स लाइक इट्स जस्ट अ मेड अप पोएम.
Later I realized that also because bachelor party के पहले लोग बोलते हैं ना कि अरे इसकी शादी होने वाली है, इसकी तो लाइफ बर्बाद हो जाएगी,
कि शादी के बाद दोस्त अपना नहीं रहेगा. करेक्ट.
Like मेरे को बहुत देर बाद दिमाग में आया है, मेरे को एकदम से नहीं आया ये.
So the idea was that I should write a poem in such a way that he's actually talking about Anjali, but Rohit thinks that he's talking about him.
हाँ.
तो बोलता है आज मेरे यार के, तो रोहित इज थिंकिंग ये मेरी बात कर, और सब लोग समझते हैं रोहित की बात कर रहा है, मगर ओनली मामा नोज एंड द ऑडियंस नोज दैट ही इज एक्चुअली टॉकिंग अबाउट अंजलि.
अच्छा, बीच में ना when Sanjay is narrating this poem, there's a shot where Anjali
लिसनिंग टू इट फ्रॉम
above, वो एक लाइन पे है कि फूल बन के उसके सामने मुरझाया भी. I want to know the meaning of that shot during that. वो प्लेसमेंट वैसा क्यों है, वो उस जगह पे ही क्यों है?
Again, this is Adi sir's brilliance in editing.
Yeah.
It was Adi sir who edited this film. So we knew that somewhere एक reaction कटेगा लड़की का. कहीं ना कहीं there'll be one insert of her close up reacting to the poem. यार at the end of the day, it's a good poem.
It's a very good poem.
So our brief to Tulip at that time was that, you know, this is a new side of Sanjay you have never seen. You always thought that he is this happy-go-lucky, mastikhor, badmash, naughty friend. But he plays serious. Certain depth and gravity, which she always thought Rohit has, but this fellow doesn't have. This is the first time she reacts to seeing this guy can use big words. He can berow them into a poem and he can, wow, who is this? Who's this Sanjay? So her reaction is supposed to be that. I don't know how well it is there in the screen, but the placement, what I was talking about, how Adi sir put it at the correct line, that he chose it at this line because it becomes automatically more meaningful. Because it pushes you into the past. She must be remembering कि फूल बन के उसके सामने मुरझाया भी. Did I miss out? ये फूल बन के कब मुरझाया? कब हुआ था ये? Have I missed out something in my relation or my equation with Sanjay? Probably there's a hint of.
I didn't know Adi sir did that. I noticed it and I'm like, this must mean something. ये तो बिना मीनिंग के डाला ही नहीं गया हो सकता है.
Yeah. It is very, very purposeful. So we knew it is going to come somewhere, but to choose that line is very intelligent.
So did you shoot the song first or did you shoot Rohit and Sanjay's altercation first?
No, we shot the song first.
It's easier to shoot a song first than the scenes?
We had Tam Jam, too many people, this, that. So let's get that done. Let's get the big things done first. And then scene we really wanted to be very intimate. In this big hall, but he's left and it's just these two boys. That interval scene, Abby, when I had first written it, it was 16 pages.
What?
Yes, it's one scene jumbo reel. Jumbo reel means double the size of a normal reel of a film. Adi sir and Sanjay sir, they both said that Mayur, तू पागल हो गया है क्या? 16 पेज का कोई सीन होता है? Only 2 characters, only 2 boys, and they are not Amitabh Bachchan, Vinod Khanna और धर्मेंद्र और शशि कपूर. They are not Shahrukh Khan, Amir Khan. They are not that level of stars. They are just Uday Chopra and Jimmy Shergill. How can we have a 16-page scene for interval? Are you mad? I said, don't know, like this is what I think. I've tried to cover as much as I could or whatever, and every line is good in this scene. So Sanjay sir told Adi sir that no, don't worry, I'll chop it. Sanjay sir used to be very proud of his ability to cut scripts, like throw scenes out and chop off things, and he'd be very happy. He'd take a red pen and literally like मेरे दिल पे छुरियां चल जाती थी. He used to cut out lines. So he's like, Adi, don't worry, I'll cut it out. So Sanjay sir sat and he cut and he cut and he cut. I think it took 2 days to cut it. And he removed as many lines as he could. It was still 12 pages. And after that, we read that scene to Adi and Adi sir got up and he said, इससे कम तो नहीं हो सकता, इतना तो करना ही पड़ेगा शूट.
पर उतना लिखो भी ना कि वो काटा ही ना जा सके.
काटा ही ना जा सके. So 12 पेज का वो सीन था शूट पे. Edit करके that scene became 9.5 minutes. I think it's still there.
It holds. It's the big showdown scene.
Screenwriting wise, we took a lot of bold choices in relation to the cinema of that time. Popular cinema, mainstream cinema of that time, we took a lot of gamble. There's no climax in this film. The last 4 scenes are talkie scenes with two characters each. This, I think I was very cocky in my writing. I think Sanjay sir had too much faith in me. I think Adi sir indulged us too much. Today, you cannot have this cinema. Today, you cannot make a film like this. We were too audacious. We were too brave and too bold, and probably we didn't have enough fucks to give, so we didn't care.
What I like is Rohit has understood that Sanjay is trying to break off their wedding. I like that he caught on early because अगर उसको नहीं पता चलता इंटरवल पे बहुत बोरिंग हो जाती पिक्चर बाद में. I like that he's confronted Sanjay and he's like कि तुम क्यों खुश नहीं हो संजय? वो कोई तुम ही हो जो मेरी शादी तोड़ना चाहता है अंजलि और मेरे बीच है. It's you. Why are you trying to do this?
इसका तो एक ही मतलब हो सकता है. He says कि तुम भी अंजलि से प्यार करते हो. And that's the time. There's a beautiful shot there, and I remember that we had many takes of because Sanjay sir was hell bent on getting that one reaction of Uday right, wherein he has a moment, should I own it up or not? And it's a big deal to accept at that time because he could be thrown out of the town. Rohit could get angry. They could have a fight. Anything could happen from that moment. Or even if Rohit would have gone and told Anjali, it could just finish the whole thing. The film gets over there only. If Rohit is a kind of a guy who's not a gentleman enough and he goes and tells, you know what, Anjali, we are getting married and this friend of yours is trying to break us up. Anjali would give up on him. He would be thrown out of the house. It could be disastrous. But that moment of heroism that Sanju has, no, yeah, whatever happens, to tell, to own this up. And that whole decision making, it's one shot. It's one particular reaction where he's saying, you also love Anjali. You stay on Sanjay a little bit and you can see that peshopas, that kashmakash, that dilemma that he's going through. And then he says, huh. And then there is beautiful reaction of Jimmy also, which is he was afraid of this, but at least he's relieved that now he knows.
But one thing, even though I don't like Rohit as a character, he's very secure in his relationship.
Yes, he's superb. He knows that he's the correct person for Anjali. That's what he says in that scene after the Willems reunion also. Na? I'm a better choice for her. He's a very rational, objective, logical person. Like I used to always think that Rohit is a doctor, he's a surgeon. He should have surgical precision in everything that he does.
One thing that जो मुझे थोड़ा खटका, where he's like, अंजलि में क्या है? You can get any girl. Why do you need her? I was like, what do you mean अंजलि में क्या है?
But at that point, it's like a breakup that he's trying to force. So when you do a breakup, you say, अरे यार, तुमको तो और मिल जाएगा. On behalf of Anjali, he's trying to break up with Rohit. You understand? That's what the underline of the scene is. The scene is that he's actually trying to break up with Rohit, trying to convince him that this relationship is not worth pursuing. But instead of Anjali, it is him doing it.
Oh.
Suppose Anjali wanted to break up with Rohit. There are so many girls like me. You're so good. You'll get anybody. Yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
Correct. That's what it is.
So Rohit says that let's do this thing. It's 7 days to the wedding. So you've set a clock.
Yeah. Second half should always have a clock.
Ticking clock है भाई, 7 दिन का time है. The advantage that Rohit has is that he's getting married to Anjali. Sanjay says that I have 22 years. It's also the number of years it's been since मेरी यार की शादी has released.
Oh yeah, it's 22 years. Absolutely.
My only thing was like, ठीक है, ये लड़कों ने बोला कि we'll both try to win over Anjali. Let the best man win. Correct. कोई लड़की से भी पूछ लो. From a screenwriting perspective, I get it. Because मेरा ये concern है, ये concern address होता है second half में, which I love.
Can I tell you a secret about the second half scripting of this film? By the way, till the time I was writing the interval, from the beginning till the interval, I had no screenplay, not even story for second half. I did not know. Because once we had a lineup for the first half, we knew our first 3 songs of the first half and where the story is going. In between these 3 songs, what is happening. That's how we scripted this film. And before I started writing the dialogue, which was 3rd day or 4th day of scripting, when I told Adi sir that I'm starting to write scenes now, but shall we discuss the second half mein kya hoga? And he said, not at all. You finish writing the first half.
So he didn't pressure you.
We had no idea. He said that even you should not know second half mein kya hone wala hai. Then only a second half will come something else. So write the first half. I actually wrote the entire first half. We narrated the first half to Yashji and Pam Aunty and we did not have a second half. They heard the first half and they liked it and they said, "Boss, dialogue, fantastic." Yashji said, I loved him. Pam Aunty loved it and they told Adi that, yeah, this is a good project. You should work on this. Next day, I still remember we were in Gaddaroom and Adi sir said, "Yaar, first half to ho gaya." अब कहाँ जाएं? I'm sure Adi sir must have had some vague idea about where he wanted the story to go, and we also had ideas. Sanjay sir had, I had in fact a whole second half which was different.
Yeah, we'll discuss that. Also, one very interesting thing in this scene that I really like is that Rohit says, Sanjay, we are friends. And I was like, no, you guys are not friends. But now I understand that it's Rohit's maturity. I'm accepting of you as a friend. You can tell me what you think of Anjali or if you're in love with her. That's fine. And it also works because arc mein hai that you've paid off in the second half. It wouldn't have been possible if this wouldn't have been here. अगर ये हल्का सा ऐसा establish नहीं होता कि Rohit is open to being friends with Sanjay. And that's because of Anjali.
And also because Rohit is a good guy. He is the ideal person, the guy that any girl would want to, or any guy also would want to fall in love with. He's the ideal mate. And we wanted to have that. But love is not about finding the ideal mate.
Love doesn't see logic.
Love doesn't see logic.
Love only sees magic.
That's a whole climax discussion. We'll do that later.
So gentlemanly handshake happens. Then the interval happens. They need to fight this fight fair. I am Team Sanjay. I identify with Sanjay a lot. Orphan hai bechara.
Even though we have achieved to create that kind of feeling in the audience, I personally as a writer have not taken a side in this film.
I know.
While we were scripting, whenever Sanjay sir would go little more towards Sanju, I would immediately wear my boots and wear my armor and become Rohit and fight for him. Because we two are little different people. Sanjay sir and I are very different people. So it works because we both were fighting for each other. We were both fighting,
Equally for both the heroes.
Equally for both heroes. He was batting for Sanju throughout the film. The whole fun is when it is balanced. If it is not balanced, it's not fun. Sanjay sir himself had a very good theory that if you are doing a triangle, if the two heroes are not equal, it cannot work. Because if you see the greatest triangle and the first big triangle in Hindi film industry is Sangam, where Raj Kapoor and Rajendra Kumar. Now Rajendra Kumar was Jubilee star. He was a big star. He had never given a flop only. He was all super hit songs and he was loved by people. So he's an equal opposition to Raj Kapoor. And you literally don't know in Sangam till the climax where the girl is going to go. हमारी तरफ से अंजलि को अन्याय हुआ है. मैं ऐसा नहीं बोलूंगा कि नहीं हुआ है. But the problem, the format is such that if you know what she wants, then you can't have interest in this. Then you have to have Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan level of actors. Like the triangles that we like and which have been super hit. Say for example, Sajan. When I was watching Sajan, till the end you could not predict that she will go to Sanjay Dutt.
Yeah, I wanted her to go to Salman.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing that you don't know who she will go to. Now, for Sajan, you can say, अच्छा, लड़की को अकल नहीं है कि किससे प्यार करना है, एक की poetry से प्यार करती है और how can she just...
No.
The thing is that movies have a grammar. Movies have to be written in a particular way. In a triangle, it's a good thing that your audience should be split. Some people should like this guy more, some people should like that guy more, but nobody should know who the girls likes. As simple as that.
You can listen to the Awesome Pod Mix on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Good Pods. We are now on YouTube also, but only in audio form. If you like what I'm doing, you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/awesomepodmix. Thank you for listening.